You're listening to 89.7 WGBH HD1 Boston. Online at gbhnews.org. GBH News. What matters to you?
I'm Jim Browdy, head on the 11 o'clock hour BPR. Starbucks is closing a bunch of stores, including more than 20 in Massachusetts. We opened phone and text lines to talk about the importance of third spaces, your coffee shops, libraries, local bars. Sure, Starbucks is a major conglomerate, but what's lost when we no longer have a place to hang out with strangers? Call or text.
I'm Marjorie Egan. Now it's our Friday media analysis segment, Press Play, this time with Boston University's media manipulation scholar, Joan Donovan. She'll talk about new polling that shows Americans' trust in the media is at a staggering low, just 28%. Plus, journalists under attack at the front lines of Trump's immigration agenda. It's all ahead, 11 o'clock hour at BPR and GBH and any PM.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Janine Herbst. President Trump says he's giving Hamas until 6 p.m. Sunday to sign on to the 20-point peace agreement outlined by the U.S. and agreed to by Israel. On social media, Trump calls it a last chance deal, saying if they don't agree, quote, all hell like no one's ever seen before will break out against Hamas. Hamas earlier said it's reviewing the plan. The Republican-led Senate will hold a fourth vote on a stopgap spending bill from both parties this afternoon, trying to end the government shutdown, though the bills are not expected to succeed. Both parties blame each other. A major sticking point for Democrats, extending the Affordable Care tax credits that make health insurance more affordable for millions of people. House Speaker Mike Johnson is against the idea.
We have a lot of reforms that we need to push through, but the answer is not to grow government and further subsidize insurance companies, which is exactly what those subsidies do. It doesn't help bring premiums down. We got to do it for the people, not for the insurance companies.
Speaking there on Fox News, the union representing Transportation Security Administration workers says the federal shutdown is taking a toll on workers at Atlanta's airport, the world's busiest. Leah Oppenheimer from member station WABE has more.
Every day, Atlanta TSA workers stop the highest number of firearms at any U.S. airport from making it onto planes. Now, local union representative Aaron Barker says those officers will be showing up for work without a full paycheck.
Congressional members still get their pay. I don't think that that's fair. For you to still receive a paycheck and the person who's out on the front line actually doing the work to be held in limbo and moved around and their benefits, everything is being played with, that it feels like we're pawns.
Leaders with the Airline Pilots Association also warn the shutdown could cause staffing shortages and communication issues in air traffic control. For NPR News, I'm Lily Oppenheimer in Atlanta.
As President Trump expands his federal anti-crime interventions to more Democratic-run cities, crime experts are watching closely to see how well they work. NPR's Martin Costi reports.
The homicide rate dropped sharply in Washington, D.C. during the first 2 months of the federal intervention there. But Jim Birch of the National Policing Institute says that's not surprising.
Any city in America with a 50% increase in their officers is going to be able to have some kind of impact on public safety. But that's not reality. That's not the fiscal reality. And I also don't think that's the long-term reality for these federal deployments. It's more of a short-term strategy, a shock and awe, if you will.
Now that National Guard troops have been ordered to Memphis and Portland, Oregon, criminologists are watching to see whether the crime deterrent effect can hold, especially in places where local leaders and the community may oppose federal intervention. Martin Costi, NPR News.
Wall Street's trading higher at this hour. You're listening to NPR News from Washington.
With the latest from the GBH newsroom in Boston, I'm Craig Lamolt. Methuen leaders have now officially launched the city's new human trafficking task force. The task force was unveiled Thursday as part of an effort to fight human trafficking in the city. The announcement comes just days after 5 massage parlors in Methuen were shut down over trafficking allegations. The city's police chief, Scott McNamara, says the city's investing in license plate reader technology to help identify potential customers at illicit businesses.
In fact, we're currently exploring sending written notifications to the homes of registered owners of vehicles repeatedly observed at locations known or suspected to be involved in human trafficking.
Methuen Mayor DJ Beauregard is also calling on other leaders across the state to step up in the fight against human trafficking. Well, the Red Sox season has come to an end. They lost to the Yankees 4-0 in Game 3 of the Wild Card Series in New York last night. It was the 10th shutout loss in Red Sox playoff history. Red Sox manager Alex Cora spoke after the game.
We'll sit down and reflect how the season went. We'll talk about it in the upcoming days, but as an organization, compared to other years, I think we took a step forward in certain areas.
The Yankees now move on to play the Blue Jays in Toronto. Sunny today, a high in the low 70s. Clear tonight, going down to the low 50s. And a beautiful weekend in store. We have sun on Saturday, a high in the low 80s, and pretty much the same thing on Sunday. More sun, low 80s. And it looks like next week gets off to a nice start. The Patriots are in Buffalo to take on the Bills on Sunday night.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Fisher Investments. Fisher is committed to helping clients stay on track to reach their financial goals and enjoy a comfortable retirement. FisherInvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Houston Browdy, I am Marjorie Egan. Welcome to BPR and GBH and NEPM. We are not at the Boston Public Library. We apologize again. We hope to be back there next Tuesday, but we are streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. We're going to make a triumphant return. That's the plan, Jim. We don't know exactly when it is. We hope it's Tuesday.
Nor do we know if it's triumphant, but we know that there will be a return at some point.
Somehow I don't think of you and me as particularly triumphant.
Nor does anybody else, actually.
But in any case, on Monday, we're going to be joined by UMass President Marty Mean, who's going to talk about the never-ending drama of higher education, and the great Bowling Alone author, Robert Putnam, who's going to talk about the way we live our lives now, which is kind of segueing into what we're going to talk about in a second.
That's a very good point. By the way, before we do segue into what we're talking about, did you hear the latest Mike Johnson scam? For the last couple of days, the Democrats were not voting to keep government open because all they cared about was health care for undocumented people, which obviously was a lie. So obviously they decided to add something today. Today, the Democrats, all they care about is putting money in the pockets of insurance companies.
That's right.
Okay.
He's the big Christian. He has a big faith podcast and all that kind of stuff. Okay. When he opens his mouth, he's lying.
Okay, in any
case. He's doing
case,
well. He's
right
really
now,
upholding his faith.
We're opening the lines to you. In this fractured, stressful political climate, is the third space more important than ever? And for those who are saying third space, there's, not work, not home, a third space where you should be hanging out. And we're better to start the conversation than Starbucks, everyone's favorite big chain coffee shop, Dunkin', where you can hang out for hours pretending to write the next great American novel or whatever you want to do on your laptop. Starbucks, as I'm sure you know, is closing scores of stores, more than 20 in Massachusetts alone, laying off nearly 1,000 workers. It's all part, they say, of a restructuring effort to combat decreasing profits. I also think it's targeted in part at the stores that we're unionizing. But is the real loss less financial and more social? For years, Starbucks was the go-to third space to work out of or meet at. Then they changed the rules about public bathroom use and started blocking their electrical outlets. That's for real, by the way, to sort of remove that social thing. So what's your third space, if you have one, and what does it do for you to be there? Or do you not have one? And if you don't, why don't you? The number is 877-301-8970, particularly in this incredibly stressful time. Isn't the coffee shop, the park, the bathhouse, whatever the hell it is, isn't that a really important part of sort of staying afloat? 877-301-8970.
Well, they talk about gyms as places that people become third space places for people. Hair salons. Well, you can't hang around endlessly in a hair salon. You can hang around more in a barbershop, I think.
Place where I get my hair cut, people hang out and talk.
Yeah, well,
you do.
Probably
Barbershops, people hang out.
Barbershops, yeah, but that's different than hair salons.
Well, I go to a hair salon.
You go to a hair salon?
I do, yeah.
With a bunch of women?
Women, men, etc., yeah.
Yeah, you always talk about going to France. When I was in college, I spent a lot of time.
Which I did this past weekend, by the way. I haven't
Jim
mentioned that yet. I was there for a
Jim
wedding.
was at the south of France. You went to a destination wedding.
I did, actually, yes. It was a beautiful thing.
But pubs in Great Britain, they're obviously about having beer or maybe not having beer, but they're big family places. People hang around. They're not necessarily just going out. Like, I think Americans think more of bars as places to meet and greet or go on dates or have dinner. The pubs are kind of a different kind of vibe. And you think of these apartments or these TV shows, like in The Friends, everybody went to so-and-so's apartment or in...
Well, it's not really a third. I mean,
well,
maybe,
it's kind of, if you have...
you can't go, you got it. No. The whole, to me at least, the whole concept of a third space is you can go there whenever you want. I mean, you can't go to your friend's house to hang out whenever you want unless you have a key to their apartment. And don't jump over France, by the way. They take this seriously. I don't even know if they use the expression. Like where I was briefly in Paris before we did the South France thing. You know what there are? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cafes. That's one. Two, you know what there also are? Public plazas. How many public plazas where you can hang out and sit are there in Boston? I know Mayor Wu's contemplating wherever, Copley Place doing some sort of thing.
Yeah.
How many places other than the Common can you just hang out?
The plaza down in the financial district, you see people sitting
there
a lot.
There's
the
some.
Rose Kennedy
What do you mean,
Greenway.
Post Office Square? Yeah, there's some of that.
Post Office Square, yeah, some of that.
But there's a consciousness, even if it's not intentional, that it'd be a third space for people. And I have to say, the level of, at least this is anecdotal, the level of stress in places that take seriously providing third spaces for people, I think the population is a lot calmer and a lot able to deal with the crap that we all have to deal with today.
Cafe Nero's still there. They're all over the place. People sitting there for a long time. They have their computer. They're there for like 3 hours.
What's a variation on a theme?
Yeah, and Starbucks used to be like that. What happened, you read these stories, and I think it's true in your own life, during the pandemic, Starbucks became kind of a takeout place. Everybody got the app, and you just swing by and get, or sometimes have it delivered. I've seen people get stuff delivered from Tate, the bakery,
Yeah.
They get delivered. They don't want to go and sit there.
Well, it sort of defeats the whole purpose.
It does.
It's just to stuff your pie hole.
Well, I think that's what's happening, though. People are getting stuff delivered, and they're not going there, or it's a drive-by kind of thing.
Well, the key, first, you have to be able to use the bathroom. That is a critical part of this thing. And there's a coffee shop that has fabulous coffee near where I live. I'm not going to mention the name because they're nice people. That has a 90-minute limit kind of thing. I mean, really? Shut up. I mean, don't even do it. Andrew in Westford. Here's Andrew. I've been going to Starbucks twice a week, spending half the workday there and half at home. It's really helped my emotional well-being to have the occasional separation with kind, helpful employees. By the way, Jim, what is the best bathhouse in your professional opinion? I just listed that. I don't really know, Andrew. My apologies, but I just listed that.
Bathhouse? I thought you were talking about bathrooms.
No, bathhouse. I mean, some people hang out in bathhouse. Another place. Everybody's got their own. If you have a third space thing.
A bathhouse?
Yes.
You mean like a bathhouse where you go and get a steam bath or something?
Oh, my God. 877-301-80. Look it up. 877-301-8970.
No, I want to know what you mean. You're talking about like a steam bath?
Yeah. Okay. Damon in Somerville, you are first. I think you are first on BPR. Hi. Welcome. Oh, my God.
Hi.
Oh.
Hi.
I'm not supposed to look it up on my GBH computer, Jim, whatever a bathhouse is.
Okay, Damon, let's try to do this.
Jim is
Go
doing.
ahead.
That's what he's doing when he's slithering, I guess.
Go ahead, Damon. Speak.
That doesn't sound great, but I wanted to talk about the third space that I've opened, and it's been going for about 2 years in Somerville, in Union Square. It's called the Boston Figurative Arts Center, or Boston Figure, and we're a place where, we're trying to just open up a space where arts professionals, artists, painters, et cetera, can meet with sort of more mainstream professionals and mingle and of get together and network and just kind of balance each other's lives out, because we each have, I'm a professional painter. I've always been that. And I've always lacked a kind of social space that, that gives me an audience for my work, as well as a kind of way of just connecting socially. So that's kind of our purpose.
Damon, what's the name of the place? I live like a half mile from Union Square, and I don't know. What's the name of it again?
Yeah, where it's the Boston Figurative Arts Center.
Where are you?
And it's at 285 Washington Street. It's right near Juliet Restaurant.
Oh, my God.
Right in the middle of Union Square.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, it's like a membership sort of organization, like a gym. You join like a gym, or you can drop in and just kind of spend an evening, draw with us. We do life drawing, and we do workshops and jewelry making, and anything that anybody wants to do, we try to make happen.
Wow.
Hey, Damon, before you go away, I've been ridiculed because my whole life, the only thing on my bucket list, I hate that expression, is to see the Northern Lights, and you could see them from Union Square a few months ago, and I didn't want to walk the half a mile. Did you see them?
I did, yeah. I went out in our parking lot and back and saw them. Yeah, it was very dim, but I could just about make out some color.
Damon, I may meet you at some point.
Right.
Damon, that's great.
You could have gone a block
congratulations.
away. Now
What's
you're going to have to
blocks?
go
Like
to Iceland.
Four blocks. Damon, thanks for the call. That's fabulous. That is really fabulous.
Yeah.
877-301-8970.
Hey, you know what?
What?
We're getting a lot of comments about our repositions, Jim. The cameras have moved around. People think it's a better idea. I like that.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, somebody's talking about hanging out at the dog park, and that's a good one. A lot of people do that. They get down with their dogs. I know people that met people. It became like a dating dog park. And then pickleball court, says a texter. It's very social, and I don't know anybody's politics, and I can hang out there. Neighborhood bar, somebody says. And I
Read
think
Bill from Arlington. This is spot on.
There is no place better to hang out than the library. The one here in Arlington is an oasis of quiet or socialization. Whatever you need is a great community spot. Of course, you never need tickets or to RSVP. That's a joke about our library, where usually we're if we don't have technical problems. Scott goes to Panera Bread. They're all over. I'm on the road as a sales guy. You get to know the locations and your table with that hidden outlet. It also allows a full lunch of your liking.
See, the critical thing for me, and this isn't in the classic definition, I guess, of a third space, you have to be able to be alone if you choose to be alone.
Correct.
If you need a break from all the crap you're dealing with, wherever it is, in the world, at home, at work, etc., that's the beauty of the third space.
Oh, this is a good one. My third space, or second space, being retired, is my friend's indie bookstore, Book Lovers Gourmet in Webster.
That's a great one.
Hot and cold drinks, pastry from a local bakery, good conversation, new and used books, great gifts. She also has a monthly art show and book groups, poetry groups, and Amnesty International meetings. The Brookline Booksmith is also a great bookstore. People hang around there, you can just stroll forever and ever. Who's the person? Oh, listen to this. This is Gabriel from Pawtucket. I'm a campus minister at UMass, and I'm starting the Way of Love as an explicitly third space group for people to connect in non-judgment and spiritual openness and social justice.
Where's that again?
I'm not Gabriel. I don't know
where he said where it was.
Well, he says he's from Pawtucket, but I'm not sure where the what UMass.
Were you able to see the Northern Lights from Pawtucket there, Gabriel? Or in any case, so listen.
UMass Boston, UMass Amherst. We're not sure. Gabriel, text back and let us know.
Anonymous
please.
texter: third space in America is either a bar or a gun range. Sometimes both. Mia, you're in Salem. Welcome to the show. Hi, Mia.
Hi there.
Hi.
I wanted to join the conversation because a few local moms and parents and I actually started up a local cooperative a while back to be a third space for young families.
Oh, wow.
Because there are a lot of spaces out there where people who work remotely or are stay-at-home moms but need a few minutes to, get some important things done, can get together and have kids play. So we were doing co-working, play care, and there was a community space.
What's the name? Do you mind telling us the name of the thing?
Yeah, we were Tandem Cooperative. We've actually just been on hold because of spatial constraints within the city of Salem. But it was such a magical thing and brought together over a dozen local families.
That's fabulous. Hey, Mia, before you go away, I don't know if I got this right. I think I heard from one of our coworkers this morning. Obviously, October is a huge month in Salem. I don't have to say why. Is it true that some of the public bathrooms are shut down because they have a federal connection or something? Did I get that right?
I think that's probably true because we do have some of the locations of the bathrooms would be like down by the wharf. There's a national historic site and stuff
I see.
like that.
Well, that must be it. That's horrible. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Hey, it's great what you're doing, Mia. Thanks for sharing the story with us. We appreciate it. Thanks. 877-301-8970. Jamie says, Mia, it's the facilities at the Salem Maritime National Historic Park. run by the National Park Service.
An anonymous texter says Harriet Heinemann hangs at the Cracker Barrel in Altoona.
Cracker Barrel. That's not even...
Okay, listen to this one. I've been a dealer at Foxwoods Casino for 29 years. I've often called it the world's largest adult daycare. You wouldn't believe the number of people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s that I deal to every day. I think a lot of it is just so they can get out of the house and be with other people in their own demographic. They make friends and contact each other and make plans to meet there. I hope they don't lose too much money while
we
they're
saw
there,
that in
though.
Springfield when
Kenny
we were
from
at
Warwick,
the
thank you.
NEPM.
Yeah, we did.
We stayed in the
of
same building as the
people
casino.
And exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some actually were, this was amazing. I had never seen, some had been disinterred to go to the casino, which is really it's very unusual, but they do that in Springfield. So it was really moving, actually. 877-301-8970. Jane in Medford says, I don't even have a second space since I work remotely feeling trapped. I mean, and also, that's a great line.
Point, Jane.
But that is a wonderful point about work from home, is if you work from home, that's it. And so if anybody needs a third, or in Jane's case, a second space, it is surely such workers. That is a wonderful, wonderful point. 877-301-8970.
Lots of people who are seniors say they hang out at their senior center.
Well, that's one. Do you, we're not getting any calls from anybody who doesn't have one. Should we operate on the assumption, does everybody have even if they don't call it that, or even if they don't know the expression, does almost everybody have a space where they go? I've told you before, I risk being ridiculed by Marjorie.
Have you asked your friends this? I have not something.
No, but I know what my friends do, and as you know,
they're meeting without you.
There's nothing, which is fine. There's nothing I enjoy more. I've told you this for years, and I'm sure you'll ridicule me. There's nothing more fun than sitting in a coffee shop, sometimes for hours, just watching people and relaxing, or doing whatever you're doing.
Don't you feel like you're? Someone said before, a table mooch.
No, big tip. The key is don't tip on the cost of your drinks if you're there for hours. For example, if you have 2 cups of coffee and let's say $6 or $7, don't give them like a $1.40 tip. You took up their table for a long period of time, and then when they get to know you, they realize you're not that table mooch you talked about who's costing them money. Just be fair to them.
So to whom do you give the tip? The person that made the coffee?
Well, whoever, Marjorie. I mean, I guess you do.
I always feel like I don't want to overstay my welcome. Now, Tim has done some investigations of these bathhouses that you hang around with. He says his favorite is the Mary Jeanette Murray bathhouse at Nantasket.
Okay, fine.
Have you been there?
Yeah, I've been there. And we're going to move on. Anne Marie in Atkinson, New Hampshire.
I asked you to explain it, and you wouldn't do it.
I just said in Atkinson, New Hampshire, my space is Planet Fitness. Stay healthy, mind and body. Gym is a good
lots
thing.
Of places hang around at the gym. Yeah, that's true. I think a lot of people make friends at those places, or they, date places from there.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen to this one. My third space is my garage. I turn on the TV or music and have an adult beverage while tinkering on my motorcycle or vehicle. Troy from Fitchburg. That's a good one. You can see where people can get into that. You got stuff to do in the garage.
Sometimes I can spend hours tinkering on my motorcycle. My hog, as I like to call it. I can spend really endless hours.
Yeah, you could have a good time in the garage. I don't have a garage. I wish I had a garage.
So one of our coworkers says, so far Jim's hanging around the bathhouse and the gym. Okay, Jim. And what is your
hog.
What is your point? What is the point you're trying to make? Just make it instead of implying something. And on the YouTube, watching on YouTube, said, I thought it would be so cool to live on Beacon Hill years ago. If I said hi to a passerby walking down the street, they'd look at you like you were nuts. Yeah, there are certain, I don't know what that has to do with this discussion, but are certain places where when you talk to people, it totally works. And when you don't talk to people, other places where you talk to people, and it seemed like totally inappropriate, and that sort of thing. 877-301-8970. Demi on YouTube says something interesting. I tip the longer I'm left alone. And while they say left, that's a part of the deal. And one of the ways you get left alone and allowed to stay is be fair to the people who depend upon making money there. By the way, you were listening to BPR on GBH and NEPM.
Janetta in Northampton. Thanks for calling.
How are you?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly.
Yes.
Thanks for calling.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I heard you say early at the top of the show that hair salons and beauty shops were not third spaces, but that's the case only for white women, because actually for Latinas, such as Dominican women and many African American women, the beauty shop actually is a third space.
Oh, yeah.
And I know this because I'm a sociologist who has studied this.
So
well,
why?
There's books and movies on this. Even if go ahead.
Is it because it takes so long to braid hair? If you want to get your hair braided, or what? Why is it? Why?
It's a tradition
is that so?
too, right, Janetta?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is about the hairstyling. So yes, braiding is one of the styles that takes many, many hours.
Yeah.
And again, so for African women, for example, Caribbean women, or women who get their hair braided, it's also a third space. But also just the nature of very often there's hair relaxing involved. And it acts like a community center, particularly, again, in immigrant communities like the Dominican one throughout Massachusetts. And people are regulars. They go every couple of weeks, not just once every 6 weeks to 3 months, which is more common for women with, European origin hair.
Yeah.
And it's really important. So, and those women become like family. They become family. They become, fictive kin, we call them in sociology and anthropology. So it does play that role. I wrote.
Janetta, have you written something that people might want to read?
Yes. I wrote a book called Black Behind the Ears.
Uh-huh.
It's about Dominicans, and I've written a couple of articles about this in a couple of journals. But my last name is Candelario, so people can Google it. You'll find me pretty easily.
Spell it, Janetta.
Candelario.
Great. Hey, Janetta, stay on hold. We might want to talk to you at some point. We'll take your contact info, and if you're interested, we can maybe extend this conversation. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, that's a fascinating thing, and because you do in I'm obviously a white woman.
You are,
but you spend a lot of time telling your whole life story to the person that does your hair. I mean, it is amazing the secrets that people reveal to the person that does their hair. And then, if the person's gone, they have to start all over again with somebody else.
Guy Cuts My Hair is one of my closest friends. I mean, Alfred has been cutting my hair forever. By the way, you can't see this right now, but we have moved the cameras. And I am like center frame. And I have to say, I'm not looking fabulous, but I'm looking better. You are like a little mouse. You look fabulous, but you're like a small well, you can't, Margie, if you turn around, it destroys. I mean, I really don't think I can work with her.
That's because
you don't want to
tell us about the bathhouses, Jim. I mean,
I will
come
during
on.
the break. What do you care what I do?
I want to know what it is and what you do there.
Yeah, I had a good time in France too, by the way. You want to know about that?
Another bathhouse over there?
No, it was not. Maybe it was. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it wasn't.
Okay.
Oh my God.
You are listening.
Keep standing up. By the way, if you stand up, it is perfect.
I'm less mouse-like?
No, I don't mean mouse in a pejorative way. I meant little. You are a perfect center image. Don't turn around.
Okay.
Right now, stay there.
I can't see what my image.
Well, you don't need to. I'm looking at it.
Okay, I'll have to get my mirror and look during the break. Okay, I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Jim Browdy, who hangs around a lot of bathhouses.
Whatever.
You're listening to BPR on GBH at 8 p.m. Streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. We'll be right back to talk about your third places.
The WNBA Finals begin Friday night. It's the Phoenix Mercury against the Las Vegas Aces. The rosters on both teams are stacked with talent from all over the globe. I'm Carolyn Beeler. We are taking a look at the international players competing for the WNBA Championship. That's next time on The World.
This afternoon at 3, here on GBH News 89.7.
Our programs are made possible thanks to you.
And MIT Sloan Executive Education, helping professionals empower their careers and explore over 90 courses blending cutting-edge research with real-world application. More at executive.mit.edu. And Thrive Next Gen, delivering comprehensive AI strategies for businesses, from initial planning and data security to full deployment with managed AI. More information is available at thrivenextgen.com/NPR.
Welcome back to BPR and GBH and NEPM. Marjorie Egan and I'm Jim Browdy. Not from the BPL, but we are streaming youtube.com/GBH News. Our hope is to return to the library on Tuesday, and we hope we can tell you about that at by 2 o'clock today, if not, latest on Monday. And on Monday, by the way, we're still in Brighton. UMass President Marty Meehan is going to talk about the state of higher ed, particularly in the time of Trump, and I'm really looking forward to this. Bowling Alone is one of the most important books, I would argue, ever written. It's written by Bob Putnam. Robert Putnam is going to join us on Monday as well. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about third spaces, things that are not work, that are not home, a local coffee shop, a town square. What's that other thing, Marjorie? Oh, a bathhouse. That's right.
That's where Jim goes.
Marjorie asked me the whole time we were in a break. And I'm not answering anything. As Starbucks closes hundreds of locations nationally, that's a big deal for a lot of people to get a sort of a mental space, a break from the stress of not just the world, but maybe of work, maybe of home, whatever. What's your third space? Do you have one? What does it do for you? 877-301-8970.
We have a bunch of texters with their third spaces. My seasonal happy place is Fenway Park, win or lose, all year round. It's Dunkin' Donuts. That's Ben in Peabody. Anonymous texter, my third space is sitting on the couch staring at our fish tank. Judy in Danvers, my third space is the pottery studio where I text.
That's great.
She says where she texts at the pottery.
You can do whatever you want.
Where I text space. I don't know what that means. And then someone is pointing about this Clover Food Lab in Newton. The person likes it because there's free parking there. So there's a Clover Food Lab, then there's CVS, then there's the grocery store, then there's the post office. So you can just park once and go to all these different places. And I work from home, so my second space is literally my car and Saturday errands. I'm alone. I can listen to what I want, talk on the phone to whomever I want, and get to socialize in tiny bite-sized chunks at the farmer's market, the library, and the bakery.
I think that counts, don't you? I think that counts.
Your third space should be when you used to go to Market Basket.
No, but you're doing a thing there. There's a specific. You don't go to Market Basket and sit on the floor in the produce aisle. And
no, but you walk. A lot of people kind of cruise around the aisles with their upside down.
By the way,
pineapples.
next week on the air we have to talk about that because I think I'm the only person in America boycotting Market Basket, and if I am the only person, I really think I got to go back. Oh, by the way, our colleagues say, excuse me, we are confirmed. Library on Tuesday. Did you say that already?
No, but
Good.
Bill says his third space used to be massage parlors in Methuen.
That's funny.
But now he has to find a new third space.
Okay. Let's go to Susan in Hudson. Susan, thanks for calling. Hi. Hi. Got to turn the radio thing off. Hi. It's going well. Okay, we'll put Susan on hold. Everybody, we usually don't say this, but we assume most of you know you got to turn the radio off while you're on hold, and then we say hi, and then you say hi back.
Yeah, you can turn it off when you get on.
Yeah, well, that was that's.
John in the Westford, thank you for calling.
Hey, John, nice to talk to you. What's up?
Hey, nice talking to you again. Yeah, I think Starbucks is unfortunately going to go out of business, at least in the suburbs. Every kid in high school has a Dunks cup. It's a status symbol. I don't know what it is. Oh, yeah, it's everywhere. That's all they talk about. It's going to Dunkin' before school, after school. The hockey moms, everything is Dunkin' Donuts. And I don't think, hanging out in the coffee shop, unfortunately, you could tip $10, $20. It's not going to bring money into the company.
Well, why do you think do you think it's because it's too expensive now at Starbucks or because it's become too much of a takeout place? Why do you think it's having so much trouble?
And John, before you answer, I have to say you're listening to BPR and GBH and NEPM. So, John, what's the answer to that question?
Oh, it could be that it's drive-through. It's a lot quicker.
Yeah.
People don't, they don't hang out anymore the way they used to, but they all want to be seen with the kids, at least, with that Dunkin' cup. Or D&D or whatever they're calling.
Yeah, but I think I'm not the authority on. Well, I am actually an authority on third space. It really matters to me. I don't know what the definition is, but I have to.
You're the authority on third spaces.
Well, since John, thanks for your call as always. Really appreciate it. Since I've known you, however long I've known you, I've told you one of the most important places in my life is the coffee shop. Is a place I go by myself. Generally, occasionally meet somebody, occasionally I talk to somebody, but mostly to hang out and be alone and be able to do whatever, including nothing that you want to do. It's a huge part of my life, even before I heard the term third space.
That's swell, Jim.
Thank you. It's really, really. Okay. Let's go to, where are we going next, you guys? 877-301-8970. Where are we going?
I don't know.
We're not going anywhere.
Okay, I'll read some more.
John. We
I'll
need
read some
somebody
more
else.
text
Thank
then.
you. Yeah, go ahead.
Farmers markets are a great third space. You can have fun conversations with passionate people. This person goes to Rockport Farmers Market from Saturday 9 to 11. Matt Underground Mushroom Company.
What?
I guess he runs an underground mushroom company.
He's got a little thing there?
A truffle thing or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Oh, and somebody else says the gun range. I mean, I'm not a shooter, but it's a great third space. I and any number of gun owners would be happy to show you how to shoot. The guy that used to be my handyman used to be one of those supervisors at the gun range where he'd go and make sure everybody was following the rules. It was up in New Hampshire. He went there every Saturday. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the key to me, and again, I don't know what the definition is, you have to be able to not talk to people if you choose not to talk to people.
I did go to the gun range in Dorchester once.
You went to the gun range with...
It was in Dorchester.
No, it wasn't. It was in New Hampshire. Oh, that was the gun show in New Hampshire for the Herald.
Gun show, yeah, that was different. This
the
is
headline, the 3-inch headline in the Herald was "Pistol Packing Mama," was a photograph of Marjorie at the gun range.
Whoever it was that just texted about the gun range, I was surprised how heavy the gun was and how powerful I felt with it in my hands,
Wow.
Jim.
Okay, good. Katrina, you're in a car. Welcome to the show. Hi. Hi.
Hi there.
Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Turn your radio down, please.
I just did.
Great.
Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly.
Yes.
Great. Longtime fan, somewhat frequent caller.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Sure.
So I think maybe only one person in this dialogue so far has brought up the public library
That's great,
as a third space. And as you operate from the BPL 3 days a week, I just think that should be emphasized further. And I will say I am a library professional and I'm slowly in grad school remotely working on my MLS, but I'm a huge advocate of public libraries because they are, unlike Starbucks, unlike bars, they are the last community space that exists where there's no expectation to spend any money.
That's actually, Katrina, thanks for the call. That is an excellent point.
They are free.
That is
you
a
can
huge
stay there
space.
all day
Well, parks
long.
are sort of like that too, but obviously you can't do those in winter. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your calls and texts. Coming up after this quick break, we didn't never find out about the bathhouse, but that's okay. No. It's time for our Friday media analysis segment, Press Play. We're going to talk with Joan Donovan about YouTube capitulating and messages from Charlie Kirk's assassin. That's next on Boston Public Radio, BPR, and NEPM.
I'm Jared Bowen. Today on The Culture Show, we remember Jane Goodall, the trailblazing primatologist who changed the way the world understands animals, nature, and our responsibility to both. Plus, American comedians, from arena headliners to rising stars, are taking big money gigs in Saudi Arabia. Critics say they're helping launder the image of a repressive regime that murders dissidents, censors speech, and silences journalists. We take on that and more on our Week in Review today at 2 on 89.7 GBH.
Support for GBH comes from you.
And the Lyric Stage, presenting Our Town, an American classic for our time. Even in the smallest of moments, beauty is there, and the secret to life is to stop and take notice. September 19th through October 19th at Lyric Stage Boston. Tickets at lyricstage.com. And Minute Women Home Care, providing senior home care services to families in the Metro West Boston area. Services include dementia care, fall prevention, live-in, and 24-hour care. mwhomecare.com.
Welcome back to BPR and GBH and NEPM, Marjorie Egan and Jim Browdy. We're not at the library, but we just got the news. We are at the library yet again, starting Tuesday, which means Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday as usual of next week. We are streaming today and always youtube.com/GBH News. On Monday, Marty Meehan, the president of UMass, joins us to talk about higher education in general, but specifically higher ed in the time of Trump. And really looking forward to having Bob Putnam on. Robert Putnam is the author of one of the most important books, I think, of our lifetimes, Bowling Alone. He will join us as well. So it's once again time for our Friday media analysis segment, Press Play. With us via Zoom, we're joined by Joan Donovan. She's the founder of the Critical Internet Studies Institute in Boston University, assistant professor of journalism and emerging media studies, the author of the 2023 book, Meme Wars, really relevant for today's discussion, The Untold Story, the Online Battles Upending Democracy in America, America, and perhaps most importantly to some of us, the co-creator of the beaver emoji. Joan, it's great to see you. How are you?
Oh, happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Joan. So we've had a lot of capitulating going on to Donald Trump, universities, law firms, Meta, then Facebook paid him a lot of money. Now YouTube has paid Donald Trump $24.5 million, just slightly less than the $25 million. I think it was $25 million that Facebook paid. Does this matter? Is this significant, or what should we think about this?
Yeah, I think, it's really important that we look at our tech leadership and wonder, what the heck is going on here. These companies are supposed to be independent, but what we know is that after the falling out in the 2020 election, where Trump spread incredible amounts of disinformation and only could do such a thing because of the platforms that were allowing him, like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. And so when they banned his accounts, of course, they got put on the revenge list. But it's really chilling for the rest of us when you see these companies obey in advance or pay these ransoms, or universities do the same, because ultimately it shows the rest of us what side they're on. And, politics is a way of chilling innovation. There hasn't been a lot of innovation in social media for years because of this battle over disinformation and some politicians benefiting from it while platforms continue to make money. And unfortunately, it's not a good sign for democracies where the president is able to jawbone companies into capitulating to whatever his scam of the week is.
Well, you say, it shows us which side they're on. Clearly it does, but it also does something else, at least in my estimation, is it makes people feel even more powerless. If it turns out, Tim Cook and Zuckerberg and all these other tech bros who are multi-zillionaires can't or choose not to stand up to Trump, it doesn't exactly give you the feeling that the average person can do what they got to do to resist this creeping authoritarian situation, don't you think?
And I wonder why they do it. I mean, they can afford not to do it, I think.
Well, we're in a really interesting moment where they've dumped so much money into AI. And now there are local battles against these data centers. They are horrible for the environment. And so we saw Facebook or Meta earlier this week also start a new technology excellence super PAC to run local candidates that are not going to get in the way of AI or are going to give them an advantage in terms of building this entirely new industry without any accountability. So what's on the line isn't so much the jawboning around content moderation. I think Trump has won that war, but these companies are all invested in something new and bigger than social media. And the evangelism around it, it's just not really working. There's too much AI hype, and, ordinary people are starting to fight back. And so they are going to need a strong federal government to fund these huge data centers.
By the way, we should add to this list of capitulation is, I think in the last 24 hours, Apple, or Tim Cook, or Tim Apple, as Trump used to call him, agreed to drop this ICE tracker thing also. Obviously, that is to make the president happy. Since you mentioned AI, I wasn't going to mention this till later, but Joan Donovan, we mentioned on the air this medbed scam that Trump reposted the other day. And for those who didn't pay attention, this is video of an anchor, that'd be Laura Trump, who is the president's daughter-in-law, on Fox News doing a report, which included her father-in-law talking about this great medbed thing, that a medbed card was going to go to everybody in America. And essentially, they're going to be magical cures. QAnon talks about these beds and this sort of thing. And, I'm almost embarrassed to ask this of you, who is so ahead of the curve on so much stuff. I'm watching this and saying, the average person is seeing this, I'm guessing, thinks it's probably true. And it was ultimately pulled down, but not until after millions of people have seen it. This is just symptomatic of what we're all going to have to deal with in the days, months, and years ahead, Joan.
Yeah, and it ties into the grand announcement around autism as well, is that, remember back during the pandemic, there was hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, this idea that the cure was already here. Mm-hmm. Same with autism, don't take Tylenol, the cure is already here. And with MedBed, it's more fantastical, but it's still part of the same delusion, which is that, you lay in this bed and you're magically cured of anything that ails you. Obviously, science fiction enabled by AI, of course. And there have been several other AI-generated clips that he's posted that are very irksome. This idea of turning Gaza into the Riviera, where him and Musk are gambling and women are in gold-clad bikinis. I mean, this kind of behavior, what's more sickening to me, it's very expected for a man of his age to be somewhat unengaged with reality, but the capitulation of the people around him and the explanations that you're getting for this, on top of the rage bait where they're putting sombreros on Hakeem Jeffries as just a very despicable and dumb way to troll the other party. It just strikes me that the communications office has really lost their way.
By the way, you just won our award for the euphemism of the year. We're saying he was somewhat unengaged with reality. I want you to know, congratulations. Your prize will be in the mail. Can I seize on a word you used a minute ago? You used the word fantastical. And I was thinking about you when I first saw this MedBed thing. What percentage, or doesn't have to be precise, how many people, when they see something like that, particularly in desperate times, believe what they're seeing, Joan?
Yeah, I mean, since the MedBed thing doesn't exist, we probably will never know. And then obviously there's some degree of likes and shares that are, people who are kind of in on the troll or part of the strategy itself. But this, goes back to Steve Bannon's notion of like flood the zone.
Sure.
But some people do believe it. I mean, if you look at who took ivermectin or the hunt for hydroxychloroquine, there was really a drought of those medicines. He had also mentioned chloroquine, and two people, a married couple in Arizona, ate fish food that had this ingredient in it and died. Yeah. So when someone reputable says things like, maybe we could wash the inside of the system out, this kind of stuff, people who are very desperate, especially for a cure or are are sufficiently fearful or paranoid, are going to try to do something about it. Or they're going to share that information because they think it's going to help a friend. Which is just, it's not the case. And I think with the MedBed thing, there might be some, issue where maybe he is, there's other evidence that he is, understanding that he's come to the end of his time and that he wants to get into heaven. And so maybe he himself is starting to believe these things.
Talking to Joan Donovan from BU.
He has been talking a lot about heaven lately, admitting he's maybe low on the totem pole at this particular juncture on his journey there. But anyway, you co-authored a book, Meme Wars, The Untold Story of the Online Battles Upending Democracy in America, Joan Donovan. That might have been helpful after the Charlie Kirk assassination, where a lot of us in the media jumped to conclusions about the engravings on some of the bullet casings that were found near the scene of Kirk's assassination. Tell us about those memes.
Yeah, so obviously there's been a lot of investigation that has happened since Charlie Kirk's murder. But one of the key pieces of evidence that the government was relying on to try to make it seem as if Tyler Robinson had a coherent political strategy was looking at these bullets that had some engravings on them. Most of them were references to internet memes or to video game culture specifically. Some of these memes traffic really well in the far right. And then there's one in particular that just says, if you're reading this, you're gay, right? Which is like bathroom stall trolling type of humor. But other ones said, hey, fascist catch, and a series of arrows. That was a command strategy for a video game called Helldivers 2, where you play as a soldier, and over the course of the game, you realize that the government that you're fighting for are actually fascists. And so, there was also one that was a derogatory dig at furry subculture, a meme that's been around for a really long time that said, notices bulges, ooh, woo, what's this, right? And there's a much larger comic or comic book strip that goes into this. But these kind of references, like all memes, have many different ways of interpreting them. So probably the most confusing one was the bullet that said Bella Ciao in it, which is a Italian resistance song, but it's also been lately picked up in a Netflix series and in some video games, and does have ties to, just kind of online posting behavior being just kind of whimsical and weird, and having these many, many layers of irony. So one of the things that's difficult to make sense of when you know that there are these layers of meaning is that to instantly discern that someone is, an anti-fascist or leftist or, it just doesn't make any sense when you look at the contemporary distribution of these ideas and memes. They're not particularly popular on the left at all, but within trolling and black pill subcultures online where people don't think anything matters, these are the kinds of messages and memes you will frequently see.
By the way, Joan wrote about this in the Boston Globe on September 19th. You should read it. It's called The Memes That May or May Not Shed Light on Charlie Kirk's Killing. And we are talking to Joan Donovan.
So something else is picking up a lot of traction now is this idea that there were hundreds of plainclothes FBI agents who were deployed to respond to January 6th. Cash Patel, running the FBI, said they went afterwards. But what do we know about this? Tucker Carlson has been pushing the idea that
they were the inciters, is what the Carlsons and the Trumps of the world are saying.
And Trump is implying that too, although Patel said something else. What is this? What do we know?
Yeah, so when it comes to this idea that there were FBI leading the insurrection, that has been a well-worn false flag that people who were indicted kept saying that, this wasn't us, this wasn't MAGA. Inside MAGA, there's theories that it was also Antifa or the left dressed as MAGA. Then, of course, how do you end up in jail for that? And so with the FBI agents, there was a revival of this story. But even the reporters admit very low in the story that the FBI were sent later as a mechanism of crowd control. Unfortunately, the muck and the mire, the idea that people are following all these twists and turns in this still important moment in U.S. history, it's important that we get the narrative right, especially about Donald Trump being in power when those FBI agents were deployed, and he should have had knowledge of when and how. But we're not expecting him to be telling the truth at all. And then we have very little trust in Kash Patel either. He has bungled several investigations, come out with information way too quickly. And so it's hard to say that either of these are reliable sources when it comes to talking us through what happened on January 6th. But Trump has always been looking for a scapegoat that pins the tail on Nancy Pelosi. But ultimately, I do think that there was an enormous gap in security that day that led to that violence that happened on the Capitol.
We should also play a little sound from Jake Tapper. He had Mike Johnson, the speaker, on, who echoed the false flag theory. When one does it, they all do it. Here's a little bit of that conversation.
Does the rule of law have to apply to people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. There's new information over the last couple of days about that as well. Apparently, there were 274 FBI agents in the crowd on January 6th.
No.
I think the total number of persons
Kash Patel
Oh.
just brought some enhanced understanding to that. They were sent there to do crowd control because of everything that was going on. It wasn't a false flag operation, as President Trump suggested.
Well, Jake, wait a minute. Hold on, Jake. How do you know that, right? There's a lot
I'm just going by what Kash Patel said.
Brand new question.
Wow, you are listening to BPR on GBH and NEPM. Joan Donovan, is your head not ready to pop off every day? I think that it seems to me the volume of made-up crap and the fact that the Republicans are so good at echoing one another. We spent half of yesterday talking about how every Republican down the line has brilliantly repeated the lie about how all the Democrats care about in this shutdown is getting free health care for undocumented people, which has zero to do with it, not to mention the fact that already under existing law, they can't get Medicaid or these Obamacare subsidies. But the proliferation of crap is just exponential. I mean, you and how are we supposed to deal with all this?
I mean, it's infuriating, but a lot of it is meant to be rage bait. It's meant to distract you. Trump's mentor, Roy Cohn, was famous for these strategies of deflect, deny, delay, never admit when something's wrong and or you made a mistake. And it does take a lot of practice to be able to do this day in and day out, in terms of these politicians, wake up getting a memo and say, okay, this is the line I have to toe today. And unfortunately, it's really starting to agitate not just the left or the, mainstream folks or even disengaged folks, but it's now agitating the base. If you go on X, which used to be much more friendly to MAGA, everything that they do that brings attention to something else, there's a response on X that says, very cool, where are the Epstein files? And so you are starting to see a lot of division in the ranks and the behaviors of someone like the speaker, where he's shutting down the government on one hand and trying to delay or deny votes from happening, not enrolling new electees into Congress to prevent votes from happening. The much wider strategy is to get us to focus on these culture war issues and to get us focused on removing the sombrero from Hakeem Jeffries, when we really should be looking at, why is it that now Trump is proud that vote was behind Project 2025? And so he's now committed to that bit after a year of telling us that there was no association here, which is all to say that you tell so many lies, people start to become fatigued. They stop listening to you. And I don't know if MAGA is going to be able to rely on that momentum alone and the charisma because it's waning.
Joan, it's great to see you as always. Thanks for sharing your time.
We've been speaking with Joan Donovan, founder of the Critical Internet Studies Institute at BU, assistant professor of journalism and emerging media studies. Say goodbye to the folks up at NAPM. Thanks for tuning in. You can tune into the fabulous 413. They air at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Callie Crossley had a last-minute snafu, so she's not, unfortunately, going to join us at noontime. But we are going to replay a great piece we did with Odie Henderson, who writes all about movies for the Boston Globe. He's going to tell us what we should be watching coming up. Odie Henderson, you're listening to BPR and GBH and NAPM, streaming at youtube.com/GBH News.
It's not over yet. More smart conversation about community issues up ahead with Jim Braude and Marjorie Egan on Boston Public Radio, right after a news update from NPR. Stay with us here on GBH 89.7.
Funding for our programs comes from you.
And Revision Energy, a solar company and a Mitsubishi Electric heating and air conditioning contractor, offering customers the option to combine a solar array with a heat pump system to manage their heating and cooling at home. RevisionEnergy.com. Great Performances spotlights how Black Missouri native Grace Bumbry overcame racial discrimination and became the toast of the 1960s international opera scene. Watch The Magic of Grace Bumbry tonight at 9 on GBH2.
You're listening to 89.7 WGBH HD1 Boston. Online at gbhnews.org. GBH News. What matters to you?
I'm Jim Braude, ahead on Hour 2 of BPR. We start the noon hour with GBH's Callie Crossley on today's Diddy sentencing and a right-wing uproar over quiet FDA approval of an abortion pill.
I'm Marjorie Egan, then it's Live Music Friday, but from Brighton with one of India's most celebrated dance artists. Neena Prasad joins us to launch her month-long U.S. tour with a performance of Mohiniyattam, the lyrical dance from India. All that plus a new Friday feature, Trump Tracker, next on our second hour at BPR 89.7 GBH.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Windsor Johnston. The Senate remains deadlocked over a short-term funding bill as the government shutdown stretches into day 3. Just a short time ago, House Speaker Mike Johnson took aim at the Democratic holdouts in the upper chamber.
And all the Democrats who are voting against it in the Senate right now, every single one of them have given impassioned speeches about how you must pass continuing resolutions, you must pass CRs. You should never shut down the government because it's dangerous and destructive and selfish and wrong. Well, suddenly they've changed their tune.
Democrats are demanding that a stopgap bill includes an extension of federal health care subsidies under Obamacare. Republicans argue that can be worked out in future negotiations. The Senate is expected to vote next hour on rival plans to reopen the government. Both measures have failed repeatedly in recent weeks. The Trump administration is withholding more than $2 billion for infrastructure projects in Chicago. NPR's Joel Rose reports it's part of a broader funding fight targeting Democratic areas during the shutdown.
White House Budget Director Russ Vought says the Department of Transportation has put on hold more than $2 billion to improve Chicago's transit system. Vought said the pause is intended to, quote, ensure funding is not flowing via race-based contracting, unquote. Earlier, the Trump administration said it would withhold $18 billion in federal funds from major rail and subway projects in New York on similar grounds. That appears to be targeting New York congressional leaders, including Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, whom the White House is trying to blame for the government shutdown. Schumer called the tactics, quote, stupid and counterproductive. Joel Rose, NPR News, Washington.
President Trump is giving Hamas a deadline, sign the U.S. brokered peace plan by 6 p.m. Sunday, or face what he calls consequences like no one has ever seen before. In a post on social media, Trump warned that all hell will break out if Hamas refuses the deal, which was outlined by the U.S. and accepted by Israel. Flights were briefly suspended at Munich Airport in Germany after drone sightings last night. NPR's Rob Schmitz reports.
The airport said in a statement that at least 17 flights were grounded overnight, impacting 3,000 passengers, while airport officials diverted 15 additional flights to other airports in the region. The airport reopened at 5 in the morning local time when arrivals and departures were again deemed safe. Munich is not alone. Last week, several airports in Denmark were forced to close for the same reason. Denmark later banned all civil drones as it hosted a summit of European leaders to discuss support for Ukraine as well as a potential drone wall initiative, a layered network of interception systems. Europe has been on alert due to a string of sightings and incursions by Russian drones into NATO airspace. Rob Schmitz, NPR News, Berlin.
This is NPR News in Washington.
With the latest from the GBH newsroom in Boston, I'm Craig Lamolt. The federal shutdown is causing confusion and anxiety for staff at the EPA's Boston office. Despite most non-essential federal workers being furloughed, the EPA is telling staff to continue working. Lily Simmons is president of the union that represents EPA employees in the region.
Right now, what's happening is that we're not following our lapse of appropriations plan, which says that something like 90% of people are furloughed. We are not furloughed right now. We are working. I don't know how they're doing that. Every time there's a shutdown, they find some new words to call it legal. And it's very upsetting.
Simmons says EPA employees are checking their email every day to see if they're still supposed to be working. At the same time, she says it's not clear if they're going to be paid. A telescope built by researchers at UMass Lowell and launched by NASA this week has completed its mission. The telescope was carried by a large helium balloon to the edge of the atmosphere where it stayed overnight, taking pictures of stars for researchers to analyze. Christopher Mendillo is an engineering professor at UMass Lowell. He says the launch is a first step towards using the telescope to find planets that could have life on them.
And eventually we want to actually take pictures of planets themselves, but it's a very challenging observation to make because planets in these dust rings around stars are extremely dim compared to the star that they're orbiting. They can be up to 1 billion times dimmer than the stars.
Mendillo says researchers will start reviewing the images next week and plan to publish their findings in 6 months. Sunny today, a high in the low 70s, clear tonight, and a beautiful weekend in store. Saturday and Sunday should be sunny with temperatures in the low 80s. This is GBH.
Support for NPR comes from ARM, committed to delivering innovative, advanced computing designed to enable worldwide companies to unleash the capabilities and experiences of AI. The future of AI is built on ARM. ARM.com. This is NPR.
2 of Boston Public Radio, Jim Braude and Marjorie Egan. We are going to be back at the Boston Public Library on Tuesday. Unfortunately, we're not there today, but we are streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. UMass President Marty Meehan is going to join us on Monday. We'll talk to him about this assault on higher education at UMass and all across the country. And the author of Bowling Alone, Robert Putnam, the classic book that talked about how we are isolating ourselves in our own circles more and more and more. We had hoped to be talking with Callie Crossley right now, but because of a last-minute cancellation, we'll have to check in with her another time. But in place of that, we're going to replay the conversation that Andrea Cabral and I had with Boston Globe film critic Odie Henderson. Here it is. We're joined now via Zoom by somebody who was forced to attend a screening of the new film featuring the Bears' Jeremy Allen White as Bruce Springsteen. Boston Globe film critic Odie Henderson. He's also the author of Black Caesars and Foxy Cleopatras, A History of Blaxploitation Cinema. Hi, Odie.
Hi, Odie. Thanks for having me on again. Hello.
Can you tell us? Are you under embargo, or can you tell us about Jeremy Allen White as the boss?
I think I'm under embargo. I mean, I just made it back. I mean, I'm still wearing my badge from
you are? Can you give us a hint? Can you give us a little hint?
Well, I don't think I'm under embargo because I've seen reviews for it, and they play Cannes or Venice. Oh, okay. But to be on the safe side, I went in with trepidation because I'm a huge Springsteen fan, and it's somewhat of a different movie than I was expecting, but it's still a biopic, and it falls back on a lot of the biopic things that I complain about in every review of a biopic that I write. So Jeremy Allen White, he kind of looks like Springsteen when he's sweaty.
Yeah, he does.
So we'll give him that, and Jeremy Strong is in it acting with a capital A.
Oh, okay.
So that's all I'll say. I'll say it's better than I thought it was going to be, but then I went in thinking that it was going to be a disaster. So take that with what you will. I will be writing about it. It will be in my first New York Film Festival coverage, which will run in the paper on Friday and will probably be up about tomorrow or Wednesday. So I'll be able to speak a little more freely about it.
Okay. So I guess we're going to see all the probably 17 different versions of Thunder Road kind of thing where they play the song.
There's no Thunder Road, but there is Born to Run.
Born to Run, okay. All right. Okay, no Thunder Road. Boy, I don't know if I can go see it then without any Thunder Road. Go ahead.
I do like Jeremy Allen White. But as you know, Odie, I am a gigantic horror movie fan. I love them, all kinds of them. So we're going to have you give us your rundown since Halloween is right around the corner. I have seen Sinners, and I absolutely loved it. I haven't seen Weapons. I definitely want to see Weapons. Give us your rundown on movies, both classic and new.
We got some sound from Weapons,
we've got some,
too.
Yeah, we've definitely got some sound to speed you on your way.
I hate to say it, but his parents have been feeling unwell as of late, and I'm staying with them to help take care of Alex.
Oh, so it's serious.
Oh, no, it's not serious. Nothing terminal. It's just a touch of consumption.
A touch of consumption? I'm embarrassed to say, I guess I don't really know what that means. I thought it was something settlers got on the Oregon Trail. What is it, tuberculosis?
You know what? They are doing just fine, but they need to stay home.
That was from the movie, the horror thriller Weapons. That particular scene was school principal is just trying to do a welfare check with the student's parents, and a very creepy woman, an Aunt Gladys, she's got on sort of horror clown makeup, shows up in their place and sort of has this conversation with this principal about why the kids need to stay at home. I love stuff like this.
Well, the plot of it is kids disappear.
Yeah.
And except for one who happens to be staying with Aunt Gladys, who is played by an unrecognizable Amy Madigan, who deserves Oscar consideration for this. And so that the whole plot is they're trying to figure out, is the teacher responsible? Is the parents responsible? Where did the kids go? What is the issue with this one kid who didn't mysteriously disappear? And it all kind of goes to Aunt Gladys. And that's all I can say about that. But and a lot of people didn't know that it was her. I mean, if you look at it, this is the woman from Field of Dreams. And what was one of the Boston crime movies she was in as well. But she doesn't look anything like normal Amy Madigan.
Yeah. Well, and also who is the actress from Ozark? Who's in it?
Julia Garner, is it?
Yes.
I'm sorry, my brain is fried.
Julia Garner,
I think it is. Yeah. She's in Ozark, and Josh Brolin is in it also.
You're in post Springsteen biopic mode.
Well, no, I mean, I saw 26 movies at TIFF, and then I went directly to the New York Film Festival, and I've seen 9 movies so far at the Film Festival.
Oh, my God. I'm surprised you're awake.
I'm surprised I'm awake also. I'm subsisting on about 3 hours of sleep right now.
Okay, Odie, well, we're glad you were able to greet us today because we want to hear all about these movies. Let's talk about this One Battle After Another with Leonardo DiCaprio. We got some sound from this, too. Apparently, in this little piece of sound, DiCaprio's character is struggling without the password to get information on a critical rendezvous.
I need this rendezvous point. You understand what I'm saying? I need it.
I understand. And the question is, what time is it?
If you don't give me the rendezvous point, I swear to God, I will hunt you down and stick a loaded hot piece of dynamite right up your asshole.
Okay, he's a little upset.
I'm glad you bleeped that. I was like, I hope to God they bleeped this before they ran it.
But you reviewed this, and what'd you say?
I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. Here's the problem. People came out of this movie, critics came out, and they started screaming it's a masterpiece. And I believe if you come out of a movie 10 minutes after you saw it and declare it a masterpiece, you are full of it. And I have a phrase I've always used when I was on Twitter called dancing the Hucklebuck. The Hucklebuck was a dance that they did in the 50s, and famously Ed Norton and Ralph Cramden did it on the Honeymooners. And so I said, when critics start dancing the Hucklebuck for something, I get suspicious. I mean, I can say that even if I join the consensus later, initially, how critics, we never have consensus on anything, do we? And so I started to be a little suspicious about it. Now, movie's not terrible. I saw it in VistaVision, which you can see at the Coolidge if you can. That's the way it was shot. I explain what VistaVision is in my review, so I'm not going to explain it here. But it's gorgeous to look at. There's Benicio del Toro is fantastic in it. Regina Hall is fantastic in it, though she's given little to do. Leonardo DiCaprio is Twitchy Leo, as I call him. Like he's become Twitchy Leo. And Sean Penn gives one of the worst performances I've ever seen in a movie. And he's awful, and the movie is enamored of his character, which is one of the reasons why I wasn't crazy about it. I also think that it really does treat a lot of its minority characters as props. And that's where I got in trouble, because a lot of people aren't saying this or completely ignoring that the movie is more enamored of the white supremacist characters that are in it than the black and brown people who are actually doing the revolution. And so, but again, it's Paul Thomas Anderson, a director I'm not exactly crazy about, but he knows how to direct the movie. I'll give him that. He's very talented. He's one of the masters of framing images. That's why the VistaVision thing was so exciting. And he does use it to maximum advantage. There's a good car chase in the movie. It's almost 3 hours long. It's a commitment. And critics seem to think it's the best thing since sliced bread. And I'm like, sliced bread has existed a long time, and I don't agree.
Well, talk a little bit about Chase Infinity. I had never heard of her.
This is her debut.
It's her. Okay.
But she was on Presumed Innocent. If you watch that on cable.
Yes.
The one with Jake Gyllenhaal?
The new one.
Yes.
She's the daughter.
Yes.
I thought she looked familiar. Okay.
But this is her feature debut. I wish they'd given her more to do because she is talent.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I kind of had mixed feelings just looking at the trailer. And I didn't like Sean Penn's character right off the bat, just because I thought he was doing some sort of bad George C. Scott
exactly
Patton imitation. And I thought,
not Patton, Dr. Strangelove.
Dr. Strange. Yes, you're absolutely right, Dr. Strange. Yeah, I thought that was it was almost a caricature.
He takes it much farther than George C. Scott does, and I kicked myself because in the paper I got George C. Scott's character's name wrong. His name is Buck Turgis, and I was running through festival stuff and typing this stuff up on the run. And Jack the Ripper is Sterling Hayden's character, who is also similar to Sean Penn because there's a whole precious bodily fluids part of this movie. And Dr. Strangelove was my number 6 movie of all time.
Oh,
and so,
God.
oh God. But
Yeah.
you might like it.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking watching these movies, unlike you and Andrea and my youngest daughter, horror movies, I like sunshine and happy endings, and I don't like horror movies.
Nothing better than a good horror movie.
You said Robert Redford's Out of Africa was awful. I thought it was wonderful. I loved it, even though it was a tearjerker and sad.
That's
and
a
stuff.
horror movie.
It's a horror
That
movie.
is actually a horror movie.
But that gives me a segue. You wrote a really wonderful piece about Robert Redford and his best roles. And you really, I had forgotten some of these movies he was in, which were absolutely terrific. So give us your take on his contributions.
My mother was in love with Robert Redford, as everybody's mother was.
Right.
And, I was more of a Paul Newman guy. But Redford, his directing work, he did Quiz Show, he did Ordinary People, he did Bagger Vance, unfortunately. He gave Scarlett Johansson one of her first jobs. Remember, she was in the movie that he made, the Western movie that he made. She was 13. As an actor, I always thought he was...
Horse Whisperer.
Horse Whisperer, yeah. As an actor, I always thought he was a very good actor. He never coasted by on what he looked like. Even in movies like The Way We Were, which I absolutely despise that film. He wasn't
Barbara
just coasting by on what he looked like. Sorry, Babs. I love The Sting. He's in Downhill Racer. The movie that I mentioned was Legal Eagles, which, I always come from left field. Because the scene in that movie where I'm an insomniac, so the scene where they can't sleep and they are doing raiding the fridge at their houses, respective houses, and watching Singing in the Rain. And Redford is so loose, it's so wonderful in that scene that you can remember a great scene in a bad movie. A lot of times, better than you can remember a great movie itself. And it made me think about it. That was the first thing I thought of when he died, was how much I love that scene and how much I wish it was in a better movie, because they're both so good. But also, it's the only time I could identify with Robert Redford. He's gorgeous. Clearly, I'm not a wasp. But that was the one time I felt like I identify with this character, because I too am an insomniac and I am a stress eater.
Yeah. So I prefer Paul Newman too, but Robert Redford wasn't bad. He
No.
was easy on the eyes.
And
I met him once, and he was gorgeous. Yeah, at Sundance.
Well, he did do, I think, a wonderful thing for the industry with his whole Sundance creation. I mean, that was a big deal, right?
Yes, he did. I mean, both Newman and Redford did things for, outside of just being actors and directors.
And The Sting was nearly a perfect movie.
I love that movie so much.
It really is.
That's
Comes
a
as
great
close
point.
as you can possibly come.
That's a great point. Every scene worked just beautifully, didn't it? Right to the end.
It really did.
Okay.
All right. So, Odie, I never really got, just like you don't get The Way We Were, I never really got why people thought Spinal Tap was so much better than it was. I thought it was good. I thought it was like it came in the beginning of this sort of mockumentary kind of a thing. And Christopher Guest, I think, is absolutely brilliant. And I love For Your Consideration and Best in Show. I love all of his stuff. But I never really got the first Spinal Tap. And now with Spinal Tap 2, talk about, how did you feel about the movie? And talk about how you felt about it in relation to the first one.
Well, I mean, I saw the first one. I got a kick out of the first one. I learned about that it even existed from Siskel and Ebert. Because, a lot of these movies that were played in New York, and I'm still a teenager, Spinal Tap came out 41 years ago, my God. I found out about them, and I would sneak into the city and watch them. And I enjoyed Spinal Tap because the whole mockumentary thing was still fairly new. There were only a couple of big ones out, the Ruddles and a couple of other ones. So this was kind of sticking it into, bringing it up, this subgenre up into like public knowledge. And when I went to Stonehenge, I laughed because I thought about Spinal Tap. And so I really enjoyed the first one. I thought this was going to be an absolute disaster, and some people do believe that it is an absolute disaster. But I felt that it was a parody of all of these, like the Peter Jackson kind of documentary, all these documentaries where the shine a light, where the Rolling Stones are now 157, and they're still doing these documentaries.
Right.
I felt like it was both a satire and an example of what it was satirizing. And I laughed enough. If you laugh enough, you have to acknowledge that you had fun of the comedy. So I gave it 3 stars. So
Okay,
I
we got
thought
a little taste of this too from the class. This is Spinal Tap. This is the new one, I believe, and not the old one.
Yeah, Spinal Tap 2, the end continues.
Just want to make sure. Okay, here we go with a little sound from Spinal Tap 2.
A lot has happened since the last time I saw you. Crypto! Have you been playing music at all?
I play music at a pub.
This is the site of Spinal Tap's reunion concert. Why New Orleans?
There was a cancellation.
Who was supposed to be there?
An evening with Stormy Daniels.
Oh.
Obviously, there'll be the regular merch.
Yes.
And Hope has had a rather brilliant idea.
Tap water. It says artisan.
Sounds pretty good.
I did think when I saw that Rob Reiner was back and the original cast was back, with the exception of the guy who played the manager, who unfortunately passed away. Yeah. I thought to myself, they're smart filmmakers. They're not going to have too much taken off of their speedball that it's going to be bad. I just was saying that for the first Spinal Tap, it's sort of like in Big Lebowski territory. There are people that revere that movie, and I never actually revered it. I enjoyed it a lot. But you think the second one is worth seeing?
I do. And in terms of the Big Lebowski, I think it's the Coen Brothers' worst movie, even worse than The Lady Killers, which gets me in trouble all the time. But I stand by what I say about the Big Lebowski. It's a movie that the way my mother feels about Raising Arizona, which she absolutely hates, and I understand why.
I love Raising Arizona.
Oh, I do too. I love Raising Arizona, but it is obnoxious.
Okay. Well, talk about another movie that I don't think I'll be seeing because I can't take all this. It's just a particular junction, but The Long Walk. Tell us about that.
Stephen King
brightens up your day.
Well, I reread the Stephen King, Richard Bachman, obviously, book. I read it when it came out in '79. I reread it before I went to see the movie, and I was one of my it wasn't a King book I liked. And the second time I read it, I had the same problem I had with the first time. It's too much going on. Remember, this is his first novel. Technically, Carrie was the first one that got published, but this is the first novel he wrote.
Right.
So you see the origin, the genesis of Stephen King, but he makes a lot of, mistakes that first authors would, make. And so the movie is streamlined really, really well by J.T. Molnar as the screenwriter. Did a really good job. He halved the number of people doing the walk. He took out a couple of things. Then he got Francis Lawrence, who did the Hunger Games movies, and Constantine. He got actors. You got Cooper Hoffman, who was Philip Seymour Hoffman's kid, and you got David Johnson, who was pretty much everywhere now and is a fantastic actor. He's in Rye Lane. He's in Alien Romulus.
He's
in
great.
This. Both of them are fantastic in the film, and the casting, it's well cast. It is extremely violent because, the plot is you have to walk.
Yeah.
These 50 people, and I cover your ears, Marjorie. These 50 kids have to walk 3 miles an hour. It's 4 miles in the book. And if they slow down, they get 3 warnings. And after the third warning, if they continue to slow down, they get shot. And they get shot a lot. And so you have to use the bathroom and eat and do all this stuff while you are maintaining a speed of 3 miles per hour. And there's 50 contestants, and they have to kill 49 of them. So that there's one person left standing.
And why are they doing it? Tell people why they're doing it.
Well, in the movie and in the book, it doesn't really make sense. I think in the movie, they tried to say that it was a recruitment done by Mark Hamill, who plays the Major, who is this overseeing this, dystopian game. This is the second Stephen King movie this year that Mark Hamill is in. He's in The Life of Chuck as well. He's great in both of them. He's Oscar-worthy in The Life of Chuck. So these kids are teenagers, I should say, are on this walk because it seems like they have been recruited. In the book, they volunteer. And that's why. If you win, you get whatever your heart desires.
Right.
Yeah. But the chances of your winning when there's one wins and 49 get shot to death.
And you got to
times.
walk like 300 miles at 3 miles an hour without stopping or sleeping or anything else. So keep that in mind. It is very violent. I will say this. They do not cut away when the kids get blown away.
And when he wrote this, we didn't have the kind of mass shootings, school shootings. No. The level of gratuitous violence was still a relative novelty when he wrote this as Richard Bachman.
Well, remember, he wrote Rage as Richard Bachman, which is about a school shooting, which he pulled.
Right.
So that you can't read Rage, or you can find a copy of it out of print, but he pulled that one simply because of the school shooting type things.
But it does make you wonder why they would make the movie in the era of gratuitous violence. And I am a huge Stephen King fan. I have every single book, pretty much with one or two exceptions, that he's ever written in hardcover, first edition, because I just love Stephen King. But I was a little bit leery about this one. I'll still see 50 people start out and 49 are going to get shot.
Well, it's a good movie. It's actually very well done. I don't think they don't show all 49 people being shot. Some of it is, I don't think it's really gratuitous. It's more graphic than I was expecting. I also think it's rather timely considering what's been going on. There is an option of the kids aren't shooting each other. They're being shot by the military.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, we only have a little bit of time, a little bit more than a minute and a half left, but real quick, here's a clip from the 75 Rocky Horror movie show when the Scranton couple, Brad and Janet, meet Dr. Frankenfurter. Here it is.
Well, I want to go.
Well, we can't go anywhere till I get to a phone.
Well, then ask the butler or someone.
Just a moment, Janet. We don't want to interfere with their celebrations.
This isn't the Junior Chamber of Commerce, Brad.
They're probably foreigners with ways different than our own. They may do some more folk dancing.
Look, I'm cold, I'm wet, and I'm just plain scared.
I'm here. There's nothing to worry about.
So,
see you next time.
So, 50th anniversary is here. How many times should we see it at midnight?
Well, I talk about it in my piece, and I also did a quiz, and I also went to the Rocky Horror Picture Show on Saturday.
Your quiz was great. I saw that in the paper.
You.
I had to read upside down, get the answers.
Well, they weren't supposed to put the answers in the paper. You're supposed to go online and take the quiz outright. But no, I went on Saturday to a Shadowcast here in New York that's done by Double Feature. They did the Shadowcast at the Quad. I hadn't seen the movie since I saw it in my 20s, and then I saw it when I was 13 at the Waverly. So that was my first exposure to it live, and being a Rocky Horror virgin, you know what happens to them.
That's right.
Movie, I had so much fun on Saturday.
Yeah.
I totally forgot how much fun the Shadowcast is, because if you watch the movie without it, it's pretty lousy. But I love the songs, and for a movie to be continuously running for 50 years, and to have been made 50 years ago, and to be as sexually fluid and open about it, and even on Saturday night, people got up and talked about how they were queer or they were LGBT, and how this movie helped them find their tribe, and how they felt safe running around and watching this film. So regardless of how I feel about the quality of it, I think its importance is not to be understated.
Yeah.
I saw it for the first time. I knew of it or learned of it by watching Fame, because there's that scene in the movie
I mentioned
Fame.
that. Yes,
Yeah.
I mentioned that in my piece. Doris goes up on stage.
Yes, and they do the time warp. Yep.
Yes. I did the time warp on Saturday. I will say I did.
Good for you.
Hey, well, Odie, I appreciate you coming after your grueling ordeal of seeing 117 movies in 2 days.
Good to see you. You're a warrior, Odie.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, everybody. Take care.
See you soon. Okay, you just heard our recent interview with Boston Globe film critic Odie Henderson. Coming up after this quick break, a decorated classical dancer all the way from India kicks off her latest U.S. tour in Cambridge this weekend. She joins for a special Live Music Friday from GBH's Fraser Performance Studio, I should say. You'll see her after this quick break. I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Tim Browdy. This is BPR on 89.7 GBH, streaming at youtube.com/GBH News.
Our programs are made possible thanks to you.
And Simmons. Since 1909, fabrics, furnishings, reupholstery, and custom window treatments. Fall event now in progress. More information about Simmons design services and their fall event at Simmons.com or at their showroom in Lynn. And Bartlett Tree Experts, a scientific tree care company providing species-specific care for trees and shrubs for over 118 years. More at Bartlett.com.
Daniel Day-Lewis has not been living alone in the woods for 20 years, but his newest character has. The actor unretired to star in his son's debut feature film.
I thought, I wonder if we can cook something up just for the pure pleasure of working together.
I'm Elsa Chang. Father and son talk about their film Anemone on the next All Things Considered from NPR News.
Today at 4, here on GBH News 89.7.
Welcome back to BPR. Marjorie Egan and Jim Browdy. We're not live from the library. Technical issues. We hope they're resolved by next week, but we are streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. And if you're not on YouTube, you should get there fast. We're also not in Studio 3 right now, but in GBH's incredibly beautiful Fraser Performance Studio for a special edition of Live Music Friday. Our guest this week is a decorated dancer who's received one of the highest recognitions awarded to artists in her home country of India. Neena Prasad has adopted the ancient art of Mohiniyattam, a dance, shaping it into something to reflect life in our present day. She's also intent on bringing Indian classical dance to new audiences, kicking off a U.S. tour that'll span the whole country, kicking off this Saturday at the Dance Complex in Central Square, Cambridge. Go to dancecomplex.org for tickets and info. In a moment, we'll speak with her as well as Peter DeMuro, Executive Artistic Director of the Dance Complex in Cambridge, and Sapna Govindan, a producer with Russack, Boston. But first, here's Neena Prasad performing an excerpt from a padam. Welcome.
വളരുന്നു ഹൃദി മോഹം എന്നോ മനെ വളരുന്നു ഹൃദി മോഹം എന്നോ മലെ വളരും ഹൃദി മോഹം എന്നോ മലെ തളരും
Neena Prasad. She will join us in a second. And again, she's performing this Saturday at the Dance Complex in Central Square in Cambridge. To get information and tickets, go to dancecomplex.org. Neena, that was totally beautiful. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for being here with us. Tell us who your musicians are and what they're playing before we get started.
Okay, so in the middle is the vocalist who render the content and context of the music. And on the percussion is the mridangam, and vocalist is Changanashiri Madhavan Nambudiri. The mridangist, the percussionist is Ramesh Babu. On the violin is Shyam Kalyan, and on the idakya, which is a supporting percussion, is Kalamandalam Arun Das.
You were wonderful, by the way. Thank you. Great. Neena, tell us what the meaning of what you just performed was.
Okay, so now I was taking a poem which has a universal context of love and romance. And as you know, it is the romantic period which have created and flourished a lot of art forms around the globe. And the traditional classical dance forms was such enhanced by a lot of poetry of Jayadeva and so many. So the poem was written by the king of Travancore, Maharaja Swati Thirunal, and this is about the love lilting in a lover, the girl who is separated from her lover, so that she's telling this will have a lot of metaphors, similes, and she's telling, okay, no, the girl is with very beautiful hair, so everything she sees is so beautiful, so it reflects to the emotion of love, separation, intoxication, like that.
Fairly universal themes, I should say. It surely is.
Universal things.
Yeah, we have this natural imagery of, like the lotus would close when sun is away. So everything will be, kind of reflected into the content of this love called Sringaram in dance.
Sapna, you helped make this happen. Where'd the connection come about?
For making the Rasik come about?
Well, also making the Neena connection.
Neena come about, yeah. So I'll start with the Rasik and segue into that because a few of us dancers in the community have been thinking about our inability to see master artists from India consistently in the Boston area. A lot of that happens in New York, DC, West Coast. But in Boston is usually not a stop for all these touring artists who are experts. It's just, that's why, maybe a lack of cohesive action from the community to make that happen, perhaps. So we complained about that among ourselves for a few years, and then last year we decided we'll do something about it.
And Peter, how did you get involved?
Well, this was the point.
This was the
I think
point.
we all came together. At the complex, we try to include everybody's dance. Nobody's excluded. And when we do a check every now and then of who's not on the circle, and we try to see who's missing. And around the same time, Sapna and Priya, her partner in Rasik, came to me and said, "What can we do together? Is there anything possible?" And that's just all we needed to combust into willing volunteer hours, some volunteer time to make a circle of welcoming others into it. So that's how
Peter,
we got to be.
how familiar were you with Indian dance before this?
Well, in a previous life, probably several lives ago, I was in a previous life. I was the director of a thing called Dance Metro DC, and there's which is a service organization, much like the Boston Dance Alliance here. And the Indian dance community in Washington is amazing. International dance is just flowing. And so I had a taste of it there, and then through my work with communities over the years. And I don't profess to know. I know beauty. I can tell that. I just saw that. I don't know the technical, as I don't with flamenco or other art forms, but I think I can tell authentic dance when it happens.
Beautifully put.
Well, Neena, I wondered too, because India is a huge country. How does your dance fit in? Is it just one of dozens of different styles of dance, or where does it fit into the whole nation?
You are right. We are a dancing country. Totally. We have so much ritualistic dance, stylized dance, contemporary, and also this traditional classical dances. For every state of us have a identity, which will come out in terms of the music, literature, and also dance. So this Mohiniyattam belonged to the 7 major classical dance forms of India. And of course, we are in under the same umbrella, but still we have these nativities and tastes which will reflect. And I believe Mohiniyattam is one of the art forms which would speak humanity, universal love, and so much to connect. Though my song may be vernacular, my song may be in the native language, but I share a very universal soul to express.
Well, I've read where you compare it to literature and poetry, and telling stories about love and romance, and also about feminism and climate change.
Yes. That's what I was trying to tell you, because I have done so many works connecting literature, and for example, you must have heard about our epic, like Mahabharata, Ramayana, and as new novels, new works emerge, we also can reread. And I have done this Draupadi in a new perspective, how she wishes, and she speaks perhaps her own experience, but it is so touching and so relevant to a modern woman as well. So there are so many problems. It's not just a feminist problem, but humanist problems, I would say.
Do men dance this Mohiniyattam too, or is it mostly a woman's thing, Neena?
Okay, so you are up there.
Jim wants to take lessons.
Okay, the soul of it is essentially the woman and her body culture, her mental thing. But we are living in a modern era where you have crossed the limited sex of male or female and so much. And we have so much to say.
We're not living in a modern era in the United States anymore. You may be in India. Now, Neena, one last thing before we talk to your colleagues here. Now that I've become an expert on the dance form in the last 12 hours, one of the other things I read is it's rare to have live musicians. And they were the music was beautiful.
Okay,
mostly recorded. Why are you the outlier?
Okay, so this is a very fortunate question and a very fortunate answer, and very fortunate for me, because till now, I have been taking this art form for the past 3 decades, in fact, and I'm one of those rarest dancers who have been working with the musicians in live. And so we create a lot. I have created a lot of stuff. And this musician, Carnatic musician, Madhavan Nambudri, he is not just a Carnatic vocalist, but he is a composer. He can write, he can, and he has a good knowledge of theater. So many, it's not just a solo. We have done so much of theater as well, group productions as well. So,
why sitting instead of standing? Is that just something that most musicians do, or is that something unique to what you do?
The musicians are
sitting.
That's a traditional.
That's a tradition, because, and also the percussion or the violin. They're comfortable of sitting. Perhaps it has emerged from the temple context as well. So that playing, sitting, communicating, enchanting with all those things happened.
Yeah, and the violin was adapted from Western music into Carnatic.
Correct.
But the way the Carnatic notes are played, it's played with certain note ornamentations. So they're more comfortable playing those note ornamentations, sitting down and stabilizing them. That's what I've...
Subna, have you been training long distance with Neena? That's what the word on the street is. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
How good are you?
How good am I?
Yeah.
Well, you must come and watch me sometime.
Peter, you just gave a thumbs up. Have you seen her perform?
Yes. It's lovely getting to know more and more. It's like it's like listening to, we were just talking about music or, cabaret music or musical theater, and now I have this visual of Indian dance just pouring into the dance complex, so it's been great.
You mentioned, Peter, your DC connection, and you all also mentioned that not so much in Boston, you're hoping to change that. What's America as a whole, if you can characterize it, what kind of audience has it been for Indian dance in general and this particular form in specific?
Sure. Well, I think we have a lot to learn in America about, we have, I just came back from London and I saw a lot of shows in the West End, and some were very sheeny and Americanized, and others were kind of rooted in a black box theater. And I feel the same thing happens in America with dance. People tend to think, oh, that's a cultural thing that I'm not supposed to look at.
Exactly.
Oh, it happens in a basement of someone's home, or where they've set up an altar, or with hip hop on street dance. We don't trust it if it's not in a proscenium arch often, and we don't trust that it's good. Well, we know it's good, and so we have to. The underground, I think, has to connect, as opposed to TV telling us what's good. We have to really connect with our souls, and when we see something beautiful, trust that. And that's well, we wouldn't be in this place in America today if we had trusted more our inner voices. So I think it's relative all the way through.
And you're going all across the country.
Yes.
Yes.
To me, yes.
Where are you going?
So I'll be now performing at New Jersey, and giving a communicative, interactive session in New York, and then I'm going to the Detroit.
Detroit,
Michigan.
Texas.
Texas,
Phoenix.
and Phoenix.
Yeah, all over the country. Those are places I've never been to, I'm embarrassed to say.
It's also one of the reasons that I know you know this better than I. The timing is so good. At the same time that the political relationship between this country and India is deteriorating, the beauty of I'm serious. The beauty of expanding the artistic connection is where it's perfect timing.
Yeah, and that's where the art is going to speak, because a sensible heart doesn't have politics. You might have your own political ways. We all have, but deep inside your human soul and your thirst towards peace will.
You speak like you dance. Do you know that, Neena? You really do.
It's really hard to hate someone when you're dancing with them.
That's a very good
in the
point.
presence of dance, love. I know this sounds all '60s and groovy and kumbaya, but it's true. There's something chemically that happens when you watch it, and if you hold hands with someone while you're dancing, that translates, and that. We should all dance more.
Before Neena tells why I'm here.
Before Neena tells us what she's going to perform in a second, do 30 seconds promoting your wonderful dance complex.
Oh, I know it's not quite enough, but we have through the graces of people submitting their own work, we create a season every year, and we have partnerships like we do with Rasik. In the next month or so, we have Absurdist Cabaret by Sleeping Weasel Theater. So theater's coming into the dance complex and mixing dance and other things. At the end of the month, October 24, 25, or 26, check the website. We have Roots and Routes, which is an annual program this year looking at the history of dance, including the legacies of all these multicultural forms that live with us in Cambridge for over 100 years, all the way back to Isadora Duncan and to present-day street dance.
Neena, what are you going to perform?
Now?
Yeah, now.
Yeah, okay, so I want to be in a joyful mood.
So
I'm just, I want to enthrall with the beauty of Mohiniyattam. And I take this opportunity to thank our Rasik and Dance Complex and the art lovers of Boston,
How about us? You want to thank us?
Yes, of course. I was just coming to that. You snatched it.
Last but not the least.
Okay.
Last but not the least. Thank you.
So you want to join
join the
your
troupe.
mates?
Yes.
And I can tell everybody we're going to hear another performance here. And if you want to get more information about where you go to get,
you can join them, Neena, if you'd like.
You can go ahead. You can go right ahead.
It's fine.
I'm doing this while you're walking over there to give you time to walk over there. Go to dancecomplex.org for tickets and info. This whole tour is kicking off this Saturday at the Dance Complex in Central Square in Cambridge. Dancecomplex.org for tickets and info.
Once again, Neena Prasad.
Nanadi, the Nadi, Nadi, Tirananadi, Nanadi, Nadre, Tadi, Tradadi, Tadi, Nanadi, Tanadi, Nadi, Tirananadi, Nanadi, Nadre, Tadi, Tradadi, Tadi, Nanadim, Danadim, Danadim, Tiranananadim, Danadim, Nadre, Nadim, Danadim, Danadim, Nanadim, Danadim, Danadim, Tiranananadim, Danadim, Nadre, Nadim, Danadim, Danadim,
Enjoying a performance from Dance and Neena Prasad and a touring band. They perform tomorrow night at Central Square's Dance Complex. For tickets and info, go to dancecomplex.org. That's dancecomplex.org. Thank you to Peter DeMoro from the Dance Complex and Sapna Govidan from Rossick, Boston for being with us today. Thank you all, and thanks to everybody in the GBH Engineering Department, all the gang who helped this special live Music Friday happen today in Fraser. Coming up after this quick break, we're debuting a brand new Friday segment where we attempt to sum up all the Trump chaos you may have missed this week. I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Jim Browder. You're listening to BPR 89.7 GBH, streaming at youtube.com/GBH News.
That was great.
This week on Under the Radar with Callie Crossley, they're on the front lines of the Freedom to Read movement, protecting democracy by standing up for access to information. Now a new documentary takes viewers behind the scenes to witness the lives of librarians in the age of book bans. That's Under the Radar with me, Callie Crossley, Sunday night at 6 here on 89.7 GBH and the GBH app.
Support for our programs comes from you.
And H&H, the Handel and Haydn Society, presenting Handel's Titanic opera, Saul. Audiences can experience H&H on October 3rd and 5th at Symphony Hall. Tickets at handelandhaydn.org. And Innuendo in Natick, featuring Hunter Douglas PowerView automated shades along with fabric Roman shades and drapery panels for your home and office. Measured and installed by the Innuendo team at the Innuendo showroom in Natick and innuendo.com.
Welcome back to BPR. Marjorie Egan, Jim Browdy. We are not at the library, but streaming on youtube.com/GBH News. And we will be at the library, or so we think, on Tuesday. We will be. I shouldn't say that. Tuesday, we're back for good. Today's Friday. Today, we're launching something new on BPR. We're calling it the Trump Tracker because we couldn't come up with anything better. With the way the news breaks out of Washington and the White House every single minute, as Bannon said, Joan Donovan used this phrase before, flooding the zone, you'd be forgiven for not catching every single outrage that comes out from the administration. There's certainly things that Marjorie and I miss as well. But because these stories matter, we're going to dedicate this slot every Friday, 12:55, to attempt to fill in the cracks of the stuff that some of you might have missed. Marjorie is going to start things off. What do we miss?
Well, the Trump administration has canceled almost $8 billion in clean energy projects, including projects right here in Massachusetts and in Rhode Island.
16 states. What do all the states have in common?
They're all Democratic states that voted for, they voted for Kamala Harris, I should say.
And each of them has Democratic senators. It's unbelievable. The line from Russell Vought, the guy who's the head of the White House budget thing, says nearly $8 billion in green new scam funding to fuel the left's climate agenda is being canceled.
I don't see a lot of those guys down in Bedford that are building that Cape Wind.
Scam.
Scam. Really good jobs, really good pay, and they may be gone. And the ones in Rhode Island that was 80% done is already gone. And we all keep talking about how much energy AI is going to take. Well, this could be a solution toward that, but no, we're going to cancel that.
What's next?
Okay, what's next is,
when she repeats it means she doesn't know what's next. Go ahead.
The $18 million infrastructure for New York City.
Too.
$18 billion, infrastructure for New York City. That's also a Democratic place.
You know why they're not doing that? It's, quote, to ensure funding is not flowing based on unconstitutional DEI principles.
That's right.
Got anything more?
And then, are you going to participate in this at all? Lisa Monaco?
I just said so. We're not at Lisa Monaco.
Oh, we're not at Lisa Monaco. Okay.
This is going pretty well. I expected it would go this well. Marjorie wanted really to talk about ICE agents, didn't you, Marjorie?
Oh, that was supposed to be fourth, Jim, but I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from Heather Cox Richardson, who has a great Substack page. She talked about how at 1 o'clock in the morning, middle of the night, federal agents, Border Patrol, FBI, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, raided an apartment building in Chicago using helicopters and large vehicles, flashbang grenades, and dressed in military fatigues. Agents broke down the doors of the residents of this 5-story building, pulled them from their homes in the middle of the night, some in zip ties, including children in zip ties, and some people, adults, were naked. The agents left the people tied up outside for hours before letting go all but 37 people in that 5-story apartment. And these apartment residents found their apartments like ransacked when they got back. Some of these people were United States citizens, and they have an eyewitness who said it was terrifying. The kids were crying, people were screaming, and she talked about the little girls crying in their zip ties.
So what I've got is a new directive from Trump himself that expands the government's definition of domestic terrorism. I'm not laughing at domestic terrorism. Two things that are indicators of domestic terrorism is if your behavior is anti-Christian, whatever that means, and anti-capitalism, whatever that means. If you are guilty, according to the Trump directive, of either of those sins, being anti-Christian or anti-capitalism, you are likely a domestic terrorist.
Well, that means Bernie Sanders is going to have to go to jail, and so is Mondami, the guy from New York City, because they're both Democratic socialists, so they're in big trouble.
Well, he's not anti-Christian. Oh, you mean because of his politics. He's not anti-Christian.
Anti-capitalism.
Oh, anti-capitalism. That's true.
Yeah, or it's needless to say, I think it should be improved. As most people do, they think we need regulated capitalism, and that's one of the reasons we're in such a mess. We don't have regulated capitalism.
Speaking of capitalism, we only have 30 seconds left. Lisa Monaco, who you may remember, was Deputy Attorney General under Biden and oversaw Trump's alleged election interference and mishandling of classified documents. She moved to Microsoft when Biden was done to become president of global affairs. Trump doesn't like that, even though it's a private company. He's told Microsoft he should fire their vice
That's
president because he's not happy
And
with her.
he did also want to fire the CEO of Intel over alleged ties to China, but he backed off after he took a 10% equity stake in the chip maker. And Mr. Anti-Capitalist, some people would call taking 10% of the stake in the chip maker socialism.
So maybe he's a domestic terrorist.
Maybe he has to. That's right.
Exactly.
Okay. After the break,
Every Friday we're doing this, whether you like it or not.
After the break, we're going to talk with media maven Sue O'Connell, co-publisher of Bay Windows. We're going to talk to her about Sean Diddy. He's supposed to be sentenced today. We don't know if it's happened yet. And we might mention Taylor Swift. I'm not really sure, but maybe we will. He's Jim Browdy. I'm Marjorie Egan. We'll be right back.
This is listener-supported GBH. It's your community, your voice, made possible by your support. Help fund the news you depend on. Pitch in online at gbhnews.org.
Support for GBH comes from you.
And Minus 33 Merino Wool in Ashland, New Hampshire. Since 1916, makers of all-natural merino wool underwear, outerwear, and New Hampshire-made socks. Their merino wool clothing and accessories are available at minus33.com. And the Damore McKim School of Business at Northeastern University, where MBA and master's degree students can build vital business skills through experience. Learn more at northeastern.edu/business.
You're listening to 89.7 WGBH HD1 Boston. Online at gbhnews.org. GBH News. What matters to you?
I'm Jim Browdy, head on hour 3 of BPR. We start the 1 o'clock hour with NBC 10 Boston news influencer Sue O'Connell. She'll join us to talk about how New England schools are falling behind places like, you ready? Louisiana and Mississippi. Plus, the latest on Taylor Swift mania sweeping the nation again.
The school problem is Jim's fault, as we all know. I'm Marjorie Egan. Then against Jim's wishes, Taylor Swift mania is also sweeping. BPR will open the phone and text lines for Taylor Swift's Life of a Showgirl release. Is it a little in your face as the rest of the world burns up, or is that the point? We all just need some in-love, happy, sappy pop to keep us going. Pop stars, music escapism, and you. All next in the third hour of BPR 89.7 GBH.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Windsor Johnston. The Republican-led Senate is expected to hold a vote at this hour. It's another attempt to break a partisan impasse that forced the government to shut down this week. Lawmakers will vote on rival plans, one backed by Republicans, the other by Democrats. NPR's Claudia Grisales reports both measures have repeatedly failed to pass.
They need Democrats to reach this required 60-vote threshold today, but we're not expecting them to help. So far, only 3 have defected to vote with Republicans. And as we know, the GOP only controls 53 Senate seats, so they need at least 7 Democrats, probably more, as one Republican, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, is expected to vote no.
That's NPR's Claudia Grisales reporting. President Trump has given Hamas a deadline to respond to an American proposal to end the war in Gaza. Otherwise, Trump warned, quote, all hell would be unleashed. NPR's Emily Fang reports the militant group has until Sunday at 6 p.m. to respond to the plan.
The plan would end the war, release hostages, let in aid, and then turn over control of Gaza at first to an international board headed by Trump. In the group's first public comments since the proposal went public, Hamas official Mohammed Nazal told Al Jazeera this week that the group is still reviewing the plan and that it rejects a, quote, take it or leave it approach to negotiating any ceasefire, adding that Hamas needs clarification on certain parts of Trump's plan. And while deliberations continue, Israel also continues to pound Gaza. Israel's defense minister has said anyone remaining in Gaza City this week will be considered a militant or a supporter of terror. Emily Fang, NPR News, Tel Aviv.
Stocks on Wall Street are trading higher at this hour as the government shutdown delayed the September jobs report. NPR's Scott Horsley has more.
The jobs report, typically delivered on the first Friday of the month, is one of the government's most closely watched economic indicators. Analysts will have to wait a little longer, though, to find out how many jobs were added or subtracted in September and what happened to the unemployment rate. The workers at the Bureau of Labor Statistics who compile that report have been furloughed until the government shutdown ends. If the congressional stalemate drags on, it could also delay the September inflation report, which is supposed to be published in about 2 weeks. Excitement over artificial intelligence continues to drive the U.S. stock market higher. All the major stock indexes closed at record highs on Thursday. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
Stocks on Wall Street are trading mixed at this hour. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 458 points. The Nasdaq Composite down 24. The S&P 500 up 18 points. This is NPR News in Washington.
With the latest from the GBH newsroom in Boston, I'm Craig Lamolt. Employees at the EPA's Boston office say they're being told to keep working during the federal government shutdown, even though most non-essential federal workers have been furloughed. Lily Simmons is president of the union that represents EPA employees in the region. She says in the 2018 government shutdown, they were told the agency had funds to cover their work for 2 weeks.
They have not told us that this time. They have said, well, check your email and see if we have money to work today. So you can't even plan for 2 weeks like we did in 2018. It's day by day.
In a written statement, a spokesperson for the EPA said, quote, congressional Democrats have chosen to shut down the government. If they want to reopen the government, they can choose to do so at any time, unquote. Simmons and other EPA employees say language like that is a violation of the Hatch Act, which limits partisan political activities of federal employees. A group of MBTA riders are urging the T to extend hours on a bus line that's seen major service cuts over the last several years. The 55 route connects the Fenway and Back Bay neighborhoods. It only operates 6 hours a day between 10 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon. Conrad Cizik lives around Fenway. He says the short hours are a problem for seniors and for people with disabilities who don't have other transit options.
The Green Line, while it accesses to West Fenway, is not a viable option for all the passengers because it's not 100% ADA accessible. It's overcrowded.
In a statement, the T says it hopes to extend the hours on the 55, but it doesn't have any firm plans on when that will happen. Sunny today, high in the low 70s. Looks like a beautiful weekend. Sunny both days and temperatures in the low 80s. This is GBH.
Support for
Jim Browdy, I am Marjorie Egan. Welcome to hour number 2 of Boston Public Radio.
Three.
Hour number 3. Thank you, Jim.
It's okay.
Welcome, Boston Public Radio. We are going to be back, we hope, with the library on Tuesday. We are right now, though, streaming as usual at youtube.com/GBH News. On Monday, we're going to be joined by UMass President Marty Meehan, who is going to tell us what's going on with higher education cuts, and the author of Bowling Alone, Robert Putnam. Hello again, Jim.
Hey there. We're joined now in Studio 3 by our favorite local woman. That would be media maven Sue O'Connell, co-publisher of Bay Windows and South End News, commentator and news influencer at NBC 10 Boston. Good day, Sue O'Connell. How are you?
Good day.
Yes.
You know, I do this thing on TikTok every Friday about all the things that Trump has done. Have you heard about it?
Actually...
Did you steal it? Did you steal it from Sue?
I guess I did.
Okay, we're going to continue to steal it.
It comes out every Friday or Monday.
Could you have it come out like maybe 11 so we can steal
I'll wait.
it?
Yeah, I'll make sure. I usually do it at like 6. So.
What do you do it on?
I do it on TikTok, and I do just a list of like, here are the 21 or 11 or 10, because you never can come up with a real number because it's so crazy things that he did, and I just list them crazily.
What are you, Sue O'Connell?
Yeah, Sue O'Connell.
All right, we'll steal that right
Sue
away.
on TikTok. That's actually very helpful.
Yes.
I mean, I know that wasn't the reason you're doing it. Well, it's helpful for other people.
It's good for us all to work as a community together.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Okay. So Sean Diddy, who really escaped the most serious charges about racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking, is nonetheless supposed to be sentenced at some point today.
He is being sentenced.
About a prostitution related charges. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, these are always the difficult cases. I always think about the situation of O.J. Simpson when he was charged with stealing his own memorabilia.
Las Vegas, right?
In Las Vegas, I think there was a gun involved, and he got the most strictest sentence that you could possibly imagine for that. Most people would not have gotten that, and everyone thinks it was retribution for obviously not getting convicted criminally for murder. It depends. I don't know much about this judge who was doing the sentencing. This whole case, I think we talked about it at one point, about how difficult it is that the law has been unable to keep up with criminal charges when it comes to grooming and power differences, and just because someone doesn't leave a situation doesn't mean that they want to be there. So it's a difficult case. I don't know. I mean, on one hand, I hope he gets the strongest case against it, but on the other hand, although the charges are serious, they're not the most serious charges in the world.
I think he could. Do. By the way, the worst background in the history of radio in your shot. We have to address that next week. Okay.
Oh, some
I
plugs
think he
over there. The light switches.
I think he could get 10 years twice.
Right.
The prosecutors are recommending 11. His lawyers are asking for 14. Months,
right.
Which is roughly time served. Another interesting thing where I'm reading on ABC News, they're saying he wants to I don't know if it's happened yet. He did a 15-minute video showing him playing with his children, mourning Kim Porter, and giving motivational speeches at fundraisers in New York. And I don't know. You want another great example of what you mentioned with that theft that O.J. was sentenced for? I don't remember his name. You will, Marjorie. One of the abusive priests,
John Gagin?
Yes. Was convicted of, correct me if I'm wrong, patting a kid on
grabbed
the
a kid's
ass.
rear end in the pool.
Yeah, in the pool.
I think it was at the Y.
And the judge, if I remember, the sentence was well in excess of what it would be for patting someone's butt in a pool,
right,
because of the things he was not charged with, but I think everybody knew.
Indecent assault and battery on a child under 14.
Occasionally that happens. I guess it's not supposed to happen, but I have to say I cheered when that
you hope
happened
justice,
many years ago.
works out in that way.
Can we stay in the courts for a minute?
John Gagin, as we know, was murdered in prison.
Right. You are our Karen Reed whisperer.
Yes.
And when I read on social media, but I've seen nowhere in straight news, and so you can tell us whether this is real or not. I read a number of reports saying that Karen Reed and Aidan Kearney, who obviously is Turtle Boy, and I assume most people know, somebody who followed this closely, has charges pending against him for witness intimidation. Obviously, we all know that Karen Reed was acquitted of everything except drunk driving. Apparently he taped their conversations, which he is wont to do, I guess, with all conversations. I'm not sure if that's true, which apparently was, when found out by Karen Reed, caused her a severe amount of displeasure. Is this true?
Well, these are all allegations. We haven't independently proved them. It would the story that's going around and the recordings that are going around on the internet sound like.
Oh, you've heard them?
Oh yeah, they're short, but it sounds like Karen Reed yelling at Aidan Kearney about a way that I don't know that he allegedly may have done something that could have made the witness intimidation charges. What we do know is that the Norfolk County DA's office is trying to indict Karen Reed again for witness intimidation involved in the Aidan Kearney charges, and they are going to, a source tells me, keep shopping grand juries. She was found no bill for a grand jury on the witness intimidation charges last March.
So what's the theory, that she collaborated with the alleged witness intimidation of Kearney?
That's what I think the DA, and the DA, again, the grand jury didn't think so. They're going to try again, and the word is that they're going to keep trying until they're going to grand jury shop until they can get a charge. So the tapes that people allegedly say were the conversation is her being upset with him. It is true that they still have her property. The district attorney still has her phone.
What is that about? I don't get it.
Well, I mean, if I were Karen Reed, I'd be very concerned because it looks like they're looking for other reasons to charge her with stuff. So, whether or not he did tape it, whether or not this conversation actually happened, we don't know. Whether or not charges will be brought, whether she wants them to or not, is also uncertain. You don't need the victim to come forward.
And we're a two-consent state, are we not?
We are too. You cannot record
anybody
without permission. Even if you're video recording something somewhere, it's very, very tricky. So if he did indeed record this without her permission, he likely is in trouble again.
One last thing. He correct me if I'm wrong, he makes himself available, does he not? Why aren't people just asking him?
Well, he's got this other court case that's been happening down in New Jersey. He's also become a magnet for people who are trying to charge him with things that he may not have done.
I see.
And so he's been dealing with this New Jersey case. I also, I always laugh about this part. If I were any one of their lawyers, I would tell them all to stop talking to people, although we like them to talk to us in the press, obviously. So I think, this is just my total guess here, I imagine some members of his legal team are asking him just
Well,
to
can I
zip
say
it.
one more thing about this? We discussed this during the pendency of the trial. I have never heard in my life a defendant in a murder case ever talk to the press during the trial. She did repeatedly, and I think it accrued hugely to her benefit.
Oh, it absolutely did.
It humanized her, the average
Absolutely.
person. I'm sure, despite what everybody likes to say, and
Yep.
my apologies, jurors hear these things, even though they're not supposed to, first or second hand. It trickles down into the community, and I think she made herself maybe a much more
Sympathetic.
appealing
Yeah,
character
absolutely.
outside than the
And
case
she
may have
controlled the
been
narrative
inside.
because the
I think
O'Keefe
you're right.
side didn't speak to the press. They very few members actually of their family or friends gave interviews.
Brilliant move by her
Prosecutors
lawyers.
couldn't speak. There was a
Yep.
gag order. Her defense team couldn't speak, so she had the stage. She's very smart. I mean, that's the other part of it too, which is you wouldn't want many of your defendants out there talking. So
that's
it's
a good point.
definitely a high wire.
We're talking to Sue O'Connell. Marjorie has been salivating.
Yeah,
since
she's over.
dawn
She's like,
today
finish up. I
for
can
this
feel the
story.
body
Oh,
language.
not about Turtle Boy.
No, I know. Just in general, you're biting at the
well,
bit.
I'm biting at the bit because for years I have been carrying the water for these students of Massachusetts in these school systems, K through 12. And Jim has been
Jim's gonna go
carrying
get a
the
cup
water
of coffee
the
now. He's
Teachers
gonna leave.
Union from which he won the President's Award like 25 years ago, and he still can't, stand up to them. It's a sad situation. Anyway, Christopher Huffaker's got this news story in the Globe that people often say, I think Maura Healey said here the other day that Massachusetts leads the nation in schools.
Does.
We still do.
What Massachusetts leads the nation is rich towns with very rich parents who are able to get great tutors for their kids. And this story confirms that the reason we do so well in Massachusetts, we have rich parents and brilliant parents able to educate their children. But they always talk about how this achievement gap is about poverty and it's about COVID and it's people of color that come from tough situations. Well, we can't say that anymore because Louisiana and Mississippi, and Mississippi is the poorest state in the nation, and these kids are kids of color, these are poor kids, and Louisiana have surpassed Massachusetts overall, and one of the big reasons is because we have been teaching the wrong way how to read, and Jim's in favor of continuing to teach the kids the wrong way to read.
So this is a complicated.
MTA
All right,
wants to
so
keep
this
teaching
is a
them the wrong way.
complicated issue. Okay, first of all, Mississippi is also number one in child vaccination rates. Okay, so
Yeah,
one of
which
the
is
issues.
fascinating.
Well, one of the issues is when you're doing really terribly, and people pay attention to fix things that are fixable, you will get better at them. So Mississippi has had terrible outcomes in education. When you do the right things and focus on it, you will absolutely. This proves we can do this everywhere, right? We can overcome
We do badly
these issues.
in poor schools, in poor towns,
Right.
Sue. We
So-
do well in Wellesley
I'm more on your
and
side.
Lexington.
I'm on your side. I'm getting there. One of the challenges is when you roll out this curriculum, and this curriculum, which was, and we went through it a little bit. I was on the board of a preschool, identifying words instead of sounding them out. Right.
So and there's an elephant.
And you're supposed to be able to figure out that the elephant should be in there because you're looking at an elephant and it's supposed to be a zoo. Well, it turns out that system was not a good system. Across the country, schools that have been using that
We've known this
have
since
found
2022, and there was this big investigation in the podcast about it.
The problem
and we
is
still
you
haven't
can't
changed.
tell if it's going to work until you do it because you can't practice on children.
Well, that's not true. That's the way we used to do it. We changed the curriculum.
This
we
is
used to
phonics
teach,
we're talking
we used
about,
to
correct?
teach phonics for decades and decades.
Right, but then we changed.
And that's when the reading scores plummeted.
Right, but if
so
we
we
didn't,
know
we
it
thought
works.
this was better, though. That they didn't change it because they wanted to make kids stupider and make sure they didn't read. They
Well,
actually
I
thought this would overcome language barriers. This would overcome learning disabilities. This would overcome a number of ways that kids who are being held back because of environmental issues, meaning learning disabilities, education, English as a second language. It turned out it didn't work. Right?
Correct.
There's no way to test it unless you roll it out. We found out it didn't work. We could have changed more quickly, right? Now we know that system and all these other school systems doesn't work, so we need to go back to the phonics.
But we're not. Well, not. There's a bill in the Massachusetts legislature that the MTA is against, and in Lexington, which has supposedly one of the best school systems in the state, the superintendent says, "Oh well, this is what what's his name, always says.
Page.
We can't do one size fits all." I mean, it drives me nuts.
No,
and you
I
grew
agree.
up you grew up in Revere, and I grew up in Fall River, full of kids that were poor.
Right.
In my case, full of immigrants. We had more.
Yep, me too.
Every week we had kids coming into the school, and somehow these kids learned to read.
Well, phonics is.
We didn't even have bilingual then.
It's completely. We know that kids can learn how to read that way, right? So that's what we should be doing. The other part is I'm still horrified that the MCAS isn't being used in the way that it should be for graduation. They're still using it for testing, but
wait, what's your point there?
I think that standardized testing.
Too.
Now, as somebody whose kid went to Montessori for a long
60%
time,
of the people in the state were opposed to it too.
Well, you know what? Because they get told the wrong things.
Okay, go ahead, Sue.
I just think that having
Jim.
a standardized, I had no problem with the teachers teaching to the test because it actually found out my kid. We found out that she thought it was cheating if she went back and read the essay in 5th grade
So you
to
voted
answer
no
the
on that
question.
question?
Yes, I think
I
that
didn't know that.
No, I think we should have kept it because we need some kind
As a graduation
of
requirement.
Yeah, and plus the numbers, as we've debated a million times, there was a handful of students that actually didn't graduate because of it, and they probably weren't going to graduate anyway. If we're being,
Do we have a replacement gym for the MCAS graduation?
Keely announced something last week.
Really? What'd she announce?
So let me just speak for myself rather than you speaking for me.
No, it's all your fault.
No, I would like to say
Until
this.
you won the Teachers
I would like to
Award,
say
the
this.
students of Massachusetts
We're learning.
were doing great. Then you won the Teachers Award. It's all
Can I say
the
my
time.
own position on this?
What?
My whole career, I've been consistent on this.
Yeah.
I am 100% for stupid children. I am, and I always will
and I'm
be.
for reading.
By the way,
So
I'm
there.
totally pro phonics, and the people you should be focusing your attention on, in my opinion, is not your favorite punching bag, the Mass Teachers Association. The legislature has the power to mandate phonics statewide.
You know
they don't
what?
have the courage to stand up
There is a bigger
to the
issue.
teachers union.
There is a bigger
if it's
issue
such a good
here.
idea, they should do it.
There is a bigger issue here for
What is it?
Democrats, and Democrats have been in the tank with teachers' unions across the country forever, and it's hurting them because people are pulling the kids out of public schools.
Why don't teachers want to teach the phonics? It's easier. I mean, that's the part I don't understand. It's easier
They want
to
local
do.
autonomy on this
Yeah, they
issue.
want-
So
That's
now we have MCAS. Everybody has something else they're different. They all have local. So just teach the AEIOU and let's get on with it.
So
I mean,
anonymous texter texts in, "Oh goody, it's moldy chestnut season.
right.
Margin or school stuff, MCAS, daylight saving." That's November 3rd, by the way.
It's coming up.
Real versus
Stay
fake
tuned.
Christmas trees are next.
Next week.
We'll be doing that.
And don't worry, I don't get paid by the word, so I can just sit here. And
So
write.
this is what
Well-
upsets. You done with this?
No, I just want to say, if you've got a kid in the Massachusetts public schools, you should find out, because I didn't
I
get
am
a straight
totally with
answer
you.
from
And
Mayor
call
Wu
your lawmaker.
she didn't tell me they were going back to phonics, and I could
I
be
thought she
wrong.
did.
Maybe
I
they have.
thought-
I thought she said they were doing both methods, which is not a good idea.
I don't
But
think.
you
See, no, I disagree. I as a dyslexic,
Yep.
I would have learned how to read more quickly had it not been just focused on phonics. Right? I absolutely.
But you can't run the schools.
No, but you
without teaching the way that works, and then have something for kids that struggle.
Sure, but I think when we get into these binary choices about how to teach, it's problematic because you have all these other issues. I absolutely think for some students, it's a good path.
But that's with every
Right, it's true,
curriculum.
right.
So you have phonics as the default, and if you need to make exceptions for an individual student's needs, then you make the
But
exception.
you should find out, because I think a lot of
Okay,
people
enough on
went
this.
through school and did not know that their kids were learning a debunked way to read, and were not able to read. And if you don't learn to read by 4th grade, you're in big trouble.
Okay, so
Jim,
what?
when we have Max, your friend,
Hey, Jim.
next time,
Yeah.
are you going to say you're on my side or Max's side?
We'll have a discussion on the merits like we always do, Marjorie. Not preconceived like you do in the tank to whatever your position is.
Okay.
Now, Marjorie is most upset.
There's a statuette,
about
Sue. It's over there from the
way
teachers'
reading
union.
is taught. I am most upset about Tilly Norwood. And do you know who Tilly Norwood
No, I
is?
do not. I
She
don't
is the
think.
AI actress.
Oh yes, I do know Tilly.
Okay, can you
Yes.
explain? By the way,
boy.
Renee Graham wrote a terrific piece
Oh,
on this in the
boy.
Globe.
She did.
By the way, this is terrifying.
It is
And
terrifying.
it's not just terrifying to actors, which is what you're going to think at first blow. This is terrifying. Go ahead.
So Tilly is one of the things about AI people when you see them and pictures that have been totally created by AI is they are weirdly unnerving and you can't quite tell why, right? They look like people, they look like they're smiling, they look like they're dressed, but there's a word for this just not like it's from outer space or it's kind of voodoo or some bad thing. The problem with Tilly is she looks like a real person. And one of the reasons that they have been able to do this is her eyes aren't exactly the same. There are just slight inconsistencies that make humans humans. So they have, like within a year or so, they have exponentially move forward. And Tilly is an actress and is being represented. She's not a real person. And of course, as we went through the actors' strike a couple of years ago, the concern about these animated people taking over actors' jobs has been one of the major parts of the contract negotiations. The people who created Tilly are saying she will not be an actor in the real sense, but what she will be doing is filling in places. We're already seeing it. I mean, if you watch closely on some low-budget movies and you look in the stands, if there's a crowd scene, you can see already using extras at a distance that are AI. We're not far away from her becoming an actual actor. And plus, when you're doing storyboarding or you're doing all sorts of other things, she may not replace an actor, but she may replace a storyboarder or an illustrator who would be drawing her. Instead, they can just put her in.
By the way, our colleagues say uncanny valley is the term.
Yes, uncanny valley, correct.
Can I say something about this that I meant to say when Joan Donovan was on? We were talking about the medbed thing with Trump.
I can't wait to get that.
And you read the stories about how people fall in love with AI figures, and you say, oh my God, how horrible, how ridiculous. This is a smidgen of this. I like to think I'm a little bit smarter than that. Because I have a Tesla, I now have AI in my car because, obviously Twitter's Grok becomes your AI thing. And when I do use the AI in the car, quite regularly, I say thank you.
I always say thank you.
Which I don't say as a joke.
I say thank you to vending machines. I swear to God, I've been saying thank you to vending machines for like 10 years.
Which is the first step towards making them human.
Human, yeah.
And what happened, I've told Marjorie the story, I don't know if I said it on the air, is... well, I won't go into the details except to say occasionally when the AI is talking and you're talking in the car, the AI responds to what you're saying, not just your question, and you talk back without thinking. And the point being, it's like the first and second step towards accepting all this. And so to me...
Have you had a fight with it yet?
No, but...
Because Doris Kearns-Goodwin was on with us last week when I was filling in. Doris Kearns-Goodwin went from handwriting everything to now working with AI to do research, right? She just totally took this, not like she was computer illiterate by any means, but she would do handwriting stuff. And now she's working with AI to find things in her book when she's working on research. Wow. And so it makes mistakes. I call AI a very, very intelligent intern, right? Yeah. So if you ask it to do something, it might make a well-intentioned mistake because it doesn't know everything. So you get in fights with it. And she and I were talking about the arguments you get with AI when you're asking it to do research for you when you know it's there and it can't find it.
But that's the entry point to it being human-esque in your life.
But don't you see, it seems to me almost inevitable that in 10 years, they're all going to be fake.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
You don't think in the movies after you saw it?
But there's a couple of things you have to remember. We already have fake people in movies. They're called animated characters, right? When Pixar came out with Toy Story, you probably don't remember this, but when you went into the theater to see Toy Story, the animation was so realistic. I mean, I still get chills when I think about it. I was like, oh my gosh, you don't notice it anymore because we've gotten used to it.
But they have voices of real actors.
Right, sometimes you do. Sometimes you record a loop, and sometimes it just there's all sorts of things that are cheated in this business that you don't really understand, but the actual humanity of the relatable emotion, like when you're really watching some actor who you are just totally, in where they are and sharing that emotional space, I don't think that AI is going to get there that quickly. And that uncanny valley situation is going to be what keeps you back. Like whenever they drop an actor in, when they have to fire an actor and they drop an actor in, you can tell. right? It may not be
today. Maybe you can tell.
Yeah, but
as you said, Tilly Norwood is a lot more human-like than
the
she
others.
might have been 6 months ago or 2 months ago.
And she was crying on the stage, and I felt really bad for her.
It's really it's scary, and people better wise up. So we're going to talk to listeners for the remainder of the show, not quite yet, but soon, about yet another round of Taylor Swift mania. Album's out. Is it yesterday when the album was out?
It was out at midnight, yes.
And I assume
Colton Bradford and I were up at 3 a.m. texting
can you read
about
us your
it.
text? Read us your text.
So he sends me a text at 2:59.
What does he say?
I know you're snoozing, but the new Taylor album is a 15 out of 10. It's Stevie Nicks, Weezer, Jackson 5, ABBA, Alanis Morissette. You will love it. And then I text back at 3 a.m. and George Michael. And then he texts back, it's so good. And then I text today, listening again in the car. So it's a big deal.
How great is it?
It's really, really, really great.
Why?
The thing I love about Taylor Swift, and it kind of, as she matured when she did Shake It Off, is she is able to pivot within the music business into new, I don't want to say eras because that's what her whole thing is, but into a new era without leaving everything else behind. So she's a grown-ass woman now, right? And she is singing about adult themes in adult ways, yet still does enough throwback. You know, she still has a revenge list. She's still got people that she's writing songs about. She is, with her team, able to musically, bring you over a bridge with new sounds, but you still recognize her. You know, when you have an artist you love for a long time, you don't want to hear the same thing every time. And you also don't want to hear something totally new, right, that doesn't relate to the love you have for the artist. She is able to bridge that gap and bring her musical people along with her.
How much Travis Kelce in this thing?
Oh, he's the hero. I mean, you could just hear him in there about, there's like, I forget the name of it because I never remember the names of songs anyway, but it's like, I used to hate being called sweetheart or honey, but you can call me honey and sweetheart. And it's upbeat for the most part. And I think it made me happy. I was listening to it and voice texting Colton as we were driving. And it just made me happy to hear these upbeat, there's a kind of Jackson 5-like song in it, and there's a kind of doo-wop song in it. And her vocals, I mean, she's not the greatest singer, don't come at me. She's not the greatest singer on the face of the earth, but she's completely aware of what her talents are, and her team is able to really exploit them.
So were you up at 3 before he texted you?
So isn't everyone up at 3?
Exactly. Listening to the new album.
Usually he texts me and says, I'm out, want to come? And we laugh because I'm not going anywhere.
Marjorie wanted us to talk
we just have
about
a picture
this.
of Colton. There he is.
Yeah, there he is.
He's a good looking. He's a good looking.
Is that a pool in his yard?
No.
Okay.
Where was he?
Whatever. So can we get back?
Of course, she's texting with Colton in the middle of the night. That's our staff.
That's right.
We have 2 beautiful pictures of Colton.
The only reason Marjorie really wanted to do this is not because of the cultural impact and how people are feeling about it. She asked Jamie to get her a list of all of her former boyfriends.
Yes, which you've
and
reviewed.
Marjorie's been doing an immense amount of research. I'm not joking, by the way.
You know what?
On every one of these people, including people no one ever heard of.
If Caroline Knapp were a singer-songwriter, she would be Taylor Swift.
That's right.
Boston
Caroline
Phoenix, one of the greats.
Great writer.
Because
she's brilliant.
If you knew Caroline, you ended up in a column or her book. I'd been fictionalized at least 3 times in one of her Alice Kay. And I'm listening to.
You were?
Yeah.
You were?
I was. I'd be like, I think that's me, and I'd be, is this me? And she's like, well, every writer's a thief.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we were very good friends.
That's great.
But listening to Taylor Swift and trying to figure out who she's singing about is a sort of like, Alice Kay, Caroline Knapp sort of thing. So
yeah, we should tell people if they're interested. She wrote at least 2 fantastic books.
Drinking a Love
Story and
Pack of Two. Right.
That was a great book. I think the last one was
there was one
Women's
more.
Desires or something like that.
What was the name of her column at the Phoenix?
It was what was it? She had the Adventures of Alice Kay, but she also had a regular column that she did.
Yeah, and there was Mr. Nice Guy and Mr. Mean.
Yeah, she was great.
We all found out who they were.
So if you're of our generation...
I occasionally shop at Mr. Mean's place. I do, and I'm guilt-ridden every time, but the food is really,
maybe
really
he's
good.
reformed.
Well, he might be in Taylor Swift's album. You never know.
Okay, Sue, it's a pleasure.
Oh my God! Look at Colton. I'm getting Colton. We're
is the
looking
future
at
of broadcast
gorgeous
news.
picture after another.
No, he's
Colton.
he's smart and good looking and kind.
Oh
wow!
My God.
Yes. And text me
Okay.
at 3 o'clock
Hi,
in the morning.
Colton.
I think he's an AI creature. In any case, goodbye.
You think he's AI?
Nice to
He's
see
not
you.
AI.
real
He's
guy?
real. That's the real
Okay.
guy.
All right.
See you, Sue O'Connell. Bye.
Sue O'Connell, thank you very much for coming in as usual. And
Sue
we had
O'Connell,
such
if you don't
fun.
recognize her, is the one next to the light switches.
Here I am.
And
Well, you know,
the,
she
and
could
the
be-
exit door.
And she can move the other side, and then she can find all my.
These all right? What do you need?
This-
What's this memo say?
Oh, no, we don't
never mind.
know
We're not gonna
that.
talk
We do
about
not
that.
mention.
I'm just
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
you'd have to clean up your side before we move, Sue, because
Why?
you have all that stuff over there.
There's
Oh,
nothing
actually,
there anymore.
I have
Jamie
all the
cleaned it
stuff
off.
over
Jamie
there.
cleaned
You know,
it off.
people, you need
My
to give more
side.
money.
John
You know,
is a mess.
fund us. We need more money to make the studio look better.
Okay.
Yeah, there's my iodized salt.
Can we move on here or no? Marjorie, hello?
Okay, whoops.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was looking at the mess on my
Okay.
side of the studio.
Yep.
Okay, we have been speaking with media maven Sue O'Connell,
O'Connell, yeah.
co-publisher of Bay Window, South End News,
yeah.
Taylor Swift aficionado.
That's me.
And Caroline
Reed
Knapp.
Whisperer.
And Caroline Whisperer. You've got a lot of things
Yeah, I'm
going on
very
there.
busy.
That's why she is a news influencer
She is.
at NBC Boston. Thank you very much, Sue,
See you
for
around.
being here. Okay, coming up
Thanks for coming
after this quick news break, we open the phone and text lines to get your thoughts on Taylor Swift's new album, but not just really the new album, Taylor Swift Mania. Because a lot of us are very wrapped up in Taylor Swift's life as we celebrate the life of a showgirl. That's the new album. Taylor Swift's newest studio album out today, Bubblegum Pop, what we need right now, perhaps, to sustain us through troubling times. He's Jim Browdy. I'm Marjorie Egan. You're listening to BPR on 89.7 GBH, streaming at youtube.com/GBH News.
Support for NPR comes from RBC Wealth Management, where financial advisors work to understand individual goals and are dedicated to providing customized advice to help strengthen financial security. More at rbcwealthmanagement.com.
Our programs are made possible thanks to you.
And Gentle Giant Moving Company, official moving and storage provider for the head of the Charles Regatta, employing rowers and athletes since 1980 and currently hiring to join their team. More at gentlegiant.com. And the DeMoore McKim School of Business at Northeastern University, where MBA and master's degree students can build vital business skills through experience. Learn more at northeastern.edu/business.
Welcome back to BPR. Marjorie Egan and Jim Browdy. We're not at the library, but we are streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. And even better news, we're back at the library because our colleagues have fixed everything with their colleagues at the library. We'll be back on Tuesday. On Monday, we're in Brighton, but we're joined by UMass President Marty Meehan. We'll talk to him about the state of higher education in general and specifically in the age of Trump. And Bowling Alone author, one of the most important books, I think, of our lifetimes, Bowling Alone author Robert Putnam will join us as well. So in case you didn't log onto the internet at midnight like Sue and Colton did and don't already know, Taylor Swift's Life of a Showgirl is out now. Here's just a little taste. So in honor of the blissful escapism that I'm going to call it, can I say bubblegum pop without upsetting people, can offer, we're opening the lines. Is Taylor Swift exactly what we all need to counter the doom and gloom of our everyday world? And even if you're not a Swiftie, the woman is just incredibly dominant in today's music and pop culture scene. In February at the Grammys, she became the first artist to win Album of the Year for a fourth time, breaking a tie with, this is pretty amazing, Frank Sinatra, Stevie Wonder, and Paul Simon. So in any case, what do you think? 877-301-8970, call or text. And if you don't get the Tay-Tay Phenom, what's wrong with you? I mean, why do you think that is? 877-301-8970.
Well, Jamie and I were discussing this before the show this morning. Yeah, and for some people, you know, you like the idea that Taylor Swift, who's had more boyfriends, I mean, millions of boyfriends, we'll go through the list in just a couple of minutes, is finally found true love, or so we hope, with Kelsey there, and it's kind of like, you got into the fact that she was always writing these songs criticizing her previous boyfriends. It's kind of like when Adele lost all that weight, or when Oprah lost all that weight.
That's actually a good one. That's a good one.
It's part of you get into the whole thing that there was always a disaster going on, always a big breakup going on in her life, and now she's together with somebody. So some people are criticizing the album, and they're saying that...
Who's criticizing the album?
Well, The Guardian, for example.
Oh, because most of the reviews I read were pretty good.
They say that her new album misses the point and underscores her tedious obsession with conflict, and I think they're talking about all the breakups there. But it's everything has come out great for her now. She's got this quarterback boyfriend.
He's a tight end
boyfriend,
whatever, yeah.
but she calls him like that's a kind of a high school romance. The pretty blonde girl gets the tight end on the football team, and everything's going to be great. So she has written some songs about Kelsey, and we have this Fate of Ophelia thing. This is for the life of a showgirl. People may remember Ophelia was the character in Hamlet, and she...
Wasn't that Hamlet's girlfriend or something?
Hamlet's girlfriend, yes, and she killed herself. And I guess Taylor was comparing herself to...
That's when didn't Hamlet kill her son or father or brother? Father, didn't she kill... Father, Polonius.
Yes. Oh, very good, Jim.
Well,
You're a big Shakespeare guy.
Well, I wish I were a big Shakespeare guy, but I'm
okay,
not.
so it's Opalite seems to be about Taylor and Travis Kelsey falling in love after a series of bad exes, and one of Travis' exes is seemingly referenced in the song. Here it is. Okay, Tracy, she says how she was saved from the grave like Ophelia by Travis, and that's very nice. So 877-301-8997.
That actually is very nice.
Here's what we want to know.
What do we
want to know? Are you
know?
excited that the new album is out? Are you excited that she's gone through so many boyfriends and has now found true love? Or do you not care? We have somebody just text and say, I hate hearing about celebrities I have no interest in. Taylor Swift, Tom Brady, and Bill Belichick. I think we're interested in them all.
Okay, we don't give a crap about your opinion.
Well, you can call in too and tell us. 877-301-8997. There's a film coming out. Is that out yet, or is that coming out in the next couple of days?
I think it's coming out pretty soon.
I mean, does this woman know the business too? I mean, the brilliance of the businesswoman. I love that part too. I really do.
And somebody says the vocals are so fake in this new album, and somebody else says, I am so not a Swiftie, but she makes my teens struggling with anxiety and depression so damn happy. I'm eternally grateful to Taylor Swift and what she does, so bring it on. Remember when she was in Gillette and the concerts were in the pouring rain, and people went down there and they sat out in the pouring rain to watch the concert?
She performed in the pouring rain.
She did perform in the car. I thought somebody's going to get electrocuted down there.
So guess who was at, this is a good little quiz for you. Guess who was at the concert? And I'll give you a hint if you don't know. Somebody famous. A lot of people famous. One person in particular famous.
I don't know.
I'll give you one hint and one hint only.
Yeah.
He's dating his granddaughter.
Oh, was Bill Belichick?
Bill Belichick was at that concert. I'm 99% sure that he was at the Rain concert.
Or Jordan, or if you call it Jordan,
or whatever he was.
I didn't know he was at the Taylor Swift concert. So how do you feel about this? Now, I did do extensive research on the boyfriends, and her first boyfriend, did you know this, Jim?
I don't know anything about it.
Her first boyfriend for only
she did a Kennedy
2
guy,
months was Joe Jonas.
Oh.
Yes.
I sort of knew that. Why only 2 months?
Most of her boyfriends were like 2 months or 3 months.
Yeah.
Joe and Taylor barely dated, but their breakup was somehow the most dramatic thing ever because he ended things over the phone.
Oh, that's
and she
not nice
was
at all.
Heartbroken. But then she released a Joe-inspired song called Forever and Always, which included the pointed lyrics, "Was I out of line? Did I say something way too honest? Made you run and hide like a scared little boy." And then
that's beautiful.
One of her most famous romances.
Maybe we'll talk to a caller in a minute too. But go ahead.
Okay.
No, you can do another one. Most famous romances.
It was with John Mayer, who's
John Mayer,
also a singer-songwriter.
I know he is.
And they only went out from December to February.
Oh, that's
December,
so
January,
sad.
February. Yeah, and apparently we don't know. I think he dumped her, or maybe she dumped him.
It's one of the two, probably. Yeah.
Yes, but she called him in a song that she wrote about him called "Dear John."
Yeah.
Sick and forced to engage in dark, twisted games.
Oh, now you got my attention. Why? What are the dark, twisted
I don't
games?
know. She didn't explain it.
Well, how come you don't know?
And he was very upset.
Yeah.
He complained to Rolling Stone and said, "Gee, I never got an email I never got a phone call. I was caught off guard. I mean, how would you feel lowest you've ever been when somebody's kicked you even lower by writing a song about you and then saying, wait till he gets wait till he gets a load of this as the song. So he was brokenhearted.
Where'd John Mayer go to college?
I don't know.
Berkeley.
Did you go to college?
Of course he did.
Berkeley's had to lay off people, because of Trump's ban
really horrible.
on international
Okay,
students.
we're actually going to let the listeners participate in this.
877-301-8978. Tina from Cranston, what do you think?
Hello, Tina.
Hi, guys. It's your favorite dog trainer behavior.
Oh, hey, Tina. How are you?
I am fabulous.
Well, we're glad to hear that. What's going on?
I do have to take a little bit of issue with Marjorie's repeated emphasis on how many people Taylor has dated over the years.
Why? Okay.
She started in this business when she was, 15, 16 years old?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If every person that I dated in my life, if I had done it in the spotlight, I would be considered a horrible person. And it's the nature of the beast. If you're dating other famous people and Marjorie, it comes across a little anti-woman.
Let's be clear. She's not being critical of her at all.
I'm kind of jealous of her, Tina. I'm kind of jealous. Yeah. I mean, my goodness.
Okay, I will let you defend yourself.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know how it comes across on the other side, how some people can take it.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, say she was anything anti-woman. I think it was incredible that she dated all these guys, dropped them after a couple of months when she didn't like them anymore, and then got to write songs about them, complaining about it. I thought that was pretty cool. Like the Jake Gyllenhaal thing. What was the one that lasted 10 minutes? She wrote about Jake Gyllenhaal.
Wait a second. How long was she dating him?
Well, not long. From
Thank you, Tina. We really appreciate
October to January. So that's November, December, January, 3 months. The romances were pretty short-lived. They were absolutely
How about the Kennedy kid? Which Kennedy kid was she dating?
Well, she dated Connor Kennedy.
Connor, whoever he is.
I believe is he not the son of RFK Jr.?
Somebody. He is?
Yes.
Oh.
He's the son of RFK Jr.
Oh.
He was a lot younger than Taylor. And they spotted them back in July of 2012. This one also didn't last long.
No.
It went from July to October.
Oh, it's too bad. What's so funny about that?
Nothing. They just, like I said, I admire this woman. She
You get
went
what you
through
need, you move on.
A boyfriend for 2 months or 3 months and moves on. We have a picture of them. They're down in
actually, he looks
Hyannisport.
like RFK Jr., doesn't
That's right,
he?
he does. And they were spotted kissing
the audience, of
behind
course,
the
'cause they
boat
can't
shed
see it.
in Hyannisport.
They were?
Yeah. But the split there was totally amicable and it was no problem. But a bunch of songs on Red, the album Red, were allegedly inspired by Jake, and he was completely cool with the songs that she wrote about him and said it was like listening to a really bittersweet experience, like going through a photo album, remembering a love that was wonderful before it was terrible.
Okay, our number's 877-301-8970. If you're not into this, I like her music, by the way, quite a bit. I'm not obsessed with it like Sue or Colton or whoever is, but I'm pretty into her music. We learned the official release party of a showgirl in theaters only is the movie, October 3rd to the 5th. See the exclusive world premiere of the music video, The Fate of Ophelia, which we just played, along with behind-the-scenes footage, Marjorie, from the music video shoot, brand new lyric videos, and Taylor's never-before-seen personal reflections on songs from her 12th studio album, The Life of a Showgirl. So there you have it. 877-301-8970.
She
and it's
also
fine. If
dated
you're not into this, we're not going
Harry
to yell at you.
Styles.
She did?
Yes.
How long was that, a week?
They were all
Nobody
short.
cares about these.
This is November to January.
That's not bad.
So that was also...
wait, just like 3 months kind of thing?
Yeah.
So she's
they were
got a
almost
3-month
all.
thing gone.
Well, no, the guy that she was with before Travis, she was with him for a long time.
Who's that? I don't even know
Some
who
guy
that is.
named Al Wine. I've got to look at his name.
Al
she was
Wine.
with him for a long time.
Joe Alwyn.
Joe Alwyn. 6 years with Joe.
Wow, that's... You really know your
Sorry,
stuff,
Joe.
Marjorie. It's clear you studied
Yeah,
this.
she was with him for 6 years, and they went out with each other for 6 years. But Harry Styles is only a short time, and she wrote about him too on her album Reds.
Yeah.
That was a big thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, there are a couple of texts you should hear. Anonymous says, I'm just glad for some good news. Trump is exhausting, which is one of the reasons we're talking about this. We thought it would bring you happiness. Another anonymous texter, obviously predictable. Jim, did Harriet Heinemann ever write a song about you? Thank you. She actually wrote it's a 3-song CD. We didn't have CDs in those days. It was quite lovely. And Carla on YouTube says, Carla from Seattle here. I'm a longtime Swiftie. Sue, as in Sue O'Connell, was so right. I listened at 9 p.m. on the West Coast last night for the 12 a.m. release on the East Coast. I love it, says Carla from Seattle. So there you have it.
Taylor Swift has been making the same song for decades. There are AIs which mimic her style and lyrics almost perfectly. I have not seen anything like that at all. But they're talking about...
No, I think that person's saying that much of her stuff sounds the same. I don't think so. I think it's good. She's a catchy songwriter. What are you laughing about?
We have a lot of our listeners who don't like Taylor Swift at all.
Well, that's fine. Let's hear from them. What they say.
I'm very excited about the new album, but keep in mind, I'm also excited about the paint on the wall. I just painted, and now the paint is drying.
But, it makes people happy. That's one of the reasons why, even though I'm not as into it, obviously, as you are, I don't even know if you're into it, but you're into the boyfriends. It makes people really happy. It's a time when people aren't terribly happy, so that's a good thing, no?
No, I think it's a break. I think it's a break in the action. We're all excited about the wedding and where the wedding is going to be. She's going to get married.
Well, she doesn't have a wedding. We don't know anything about a wedding. We know they're engaged. We don't know anything about a wedding.
Usually if you're engaged, you wind up
some people are engaged for a long time.
Getting married. Well, we think she's going to get married. Who's going to be invited to the wedding? What will she wear at the wedding? What will Travis wear at the wedding?
You know who's not going to be invited to the wedding? John Mayer, Connor Kennedy. Who are all the other ones you were just listening?
Well, Harry Styles. He's a great singer-songwriter.
He won't be there.
No, but he wrote about her, too.
He did?
Yes. Two Ghosts, a track off Harry's self-styled debut solo album, is also rumored to be about Tay, as those in the know call her. Yeah, but they reunited apparently. They were dating in the early, in 2012 and 2013, but they reunited at the Grammys in 2021. Yes.
What does that mean, they reunited?
Happy. Well, I guess there was some bad blood between them.
There was?
She also supposedly... she was in this track, Out of the Woods. I'm not sure if she was complaining about him or not complaining about him in Out of the Woods, but she was writing songs about him and he was writing songs about her.
That's incredible.
And then there was some bad blood between them, but then they reunited.
Travis Kelce's written quite a few songs about her too, actually, that are quite lovely. Patrick Mahomes sings background on most of those. They are quite beautiful.
No, he's on the album too. I mean, he's the happiness of their relationship is expressed on the album as well. And she said she's very happy about that.
She is.
Yes, because she realizes they're a very public couple and that he understands what it's like to be a public couple and it's going to be happily ever after.
One of our colleagues, unnamed, it's sort of an anonymous colleague, said if anyone would invite all their exes to the wedding, it would be Tay. That's actually sort of beautiful, is it not? 877-301-8970 is the number.
Somebody called this the brainless, easy listening portion of the Jim and Marjorie show.
Well, it's not that brainless. It's maybe easy listening. The gossipy, brainless, easy listening portion. That's Ama who's watching on YouTube. Thank you for your analysis of what we're doing here.
But you do remember when the mothers and the daughters got dressed up in the same outfits? I think Sue O'Connell did that.
I think she did too.
And they took the train down to Gillette Stadium together to see her in the rain performing.
Well, the phenomenon is a good thing. And there's really nothing negative attached to the phenomenon. Is that correct?
Yep.
Like some people like Charlie Kirk, some people hated Charlie Kirk. That's not the case. Do you know anybody who hates Taylor Swift, except for maybe Donald Trump because she urged people to register? She didn't endorse Harris. She just urged people to register. Is that not right?
I think she endorsed the Democrat that was running against the was it the senator or the governor in Tennessee? But she won. I forget the name. The blonde woman.
No, the senator lost. Oh. Okay, John Parker said she's voting for Harris, but she just urged her people to vote. Actually, she endorsed the losing candidate against, what's that woman's name? Blackburn, the Republican?
Marsha Blackburn.
Yeah, Blackburn won that race. She endorsed the loser, Taylor Swift, in that race.
In her hometown.
Wasn't her hometown?
No, her home state. I'm sorry.
State. Same thing. Same town. Same. Marjorie's done a lot of research for this segment, as you can see. The only thing we know, I think it's fairly obvious, the only thing we know is who her boyfriends were. At least one of us does. 877-301-8970.
Well, our callers aren't listeners because they're not calling.
They don't give a damn about this. Pretty obvious. They don't give a damn about this. But we're going to beat it till it cries in a couple of seconds here.
Sometimes you need a break from Donald Trump.
You do.
If you talk about Donald Trump all day long, I mean, it starts to affect your mental health.
Does he say she's overrated too? Who is overrated according to Donald Trump? We know Meryl Streep is overrated, correct? Bruce Springsteen is overrated.
Yeah.
Who else is overrated?
Travis Kelce is definitely overrated.
No, I don't think. No, but Travis Kelce said right before the Super Bowl, if you remember, which was upsetting, that he was, I don't know if you used the word honored. Can someone look this up? I think he said that he was honored that Trump was coming to the Super Bowl. Didn't he say that?
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know,
fine.
but she's not he can't be a Trump person marrying
I didn't say he was a Trump person, but he said he was honored that he was coming to the Super Bowl.
And he does the podcast with his brother, and his brother's wife does a podcast which is hugely popular all across the country.
Wait, this is not true. Zoe just posted this in capital letters. Trump posted on Truth Social after Swift endorsed, Harris for herself. I hate Taylor Swift in capital letters. Can you imagine? Is that unbelievable? In August, he called Swift a woke singer and wrote, quote, ever since I alerted the world as to what she was by saying on Truth Social that I can't stand her, capital letters hate, she was booed out of the Super Bowl and became, capital letters, this is the President of the United States, no longer hot, he wrote. The tide has seriously turned. Being woke, capital letters, of course, is for losers. Being Republican is what you want to be. What do you think of that?
Well, I think that's a little over the top.
You think it's a bit much? He does think she is no longer hot, which must mean that he thought at one time that she was. Is that not the case?
I don't know. I mean, she looks pretty good to me. I mean, she looks beautiful on the cover of the album. She's a beautiful looking woman. I don't know what he's talking about. He's mad because she doesn't like him.
So, Jared, if you want to come in early because nobody cares about this, you should feel free to join us.
We do have a couple of people calling here.
Okay, well, let's take one.
So let's go to Karen in Braintree. Thank God you called, Karen.
Hi, Karen in Braintree. What's going on?
Hey, guys. I'm a groupie. Love you.
No, thank you kindly.
I would love to talk about the bigger picture with Taylor Swift. I feel like she really embodies the progress of women in the music industry. I was listening to this interview with Sarah McLachlan talking about the Lilith Fair.
I love her, by the way.
Which is, yeah, she's amazing, right? There's a big reunion, an anniversary of the Lilith Fair this year. I don't know if it's 30 years or what. But she was saying in 1996, the radio stations would not play two female artists back to back.
Really?
Jared is sort of nodding in agreement. I think he knows that. That's incredible.
It's incredible. And I was graduating college that year. I didn't even notice that. So that's where the music industry was then compared to now when we have Taylor Swift and Beyonce and all of these other women who are basically running the industry. It's incredible.
Karen, that was great. Thanks.
That is a great point.
It is?
That is a great point. I remember, Madonna. People made a big deal about Madonna because Madonna was a woman. She had all women in her organization.
And a wildly savvy business person.
She ran her own business. And, I mean, she's obviously older now, so she's not performing like she used to. But that was a big deal when she came on big time. What were you going to say, Jared?
But this is always the thing. It's an exception. It's an exception that Madonna did this. It's an exception that Sarah McLachlan recognized that the only way she could get two women back to back on a bill is to create her own Lilith Fair, and the success and all the money they generated from it. That's an exception. Like I'll never forget this. The First Wives Club with Bette Midler, Diane Keaton, and Goldie Hawn. Oh, it's an exception that you put three women together in a film and it's going to do big box office. We get in this cycle over and over again.
Could you keep your head there? Because not only can people see the light switches now, they can also see the thermostat in the background, which is quite lovely. James from a car says, if it were not for you two, this is really beautiful. If it were not for you two, I would know absolutely nothing about Taylor Swift, to which I respond, James, it's fairly obvious. We know nothing about Taylor Swift.
Let me just tell you what's very painful about this. Jim didn't want to do Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I wanted to do Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to have to apologize to Jim and tell him he was right.
Can I tell you something, though? That's not the kind of person I am. There's a statute of limitation on everything. By 2027, I'm raising my right hand on YouTube right here. I will never raise this again after January 2027.
So by January 2027, will I have an invite to your house?
No, I discussed that with a lot of key people last night. What?
I came home and there was a nice little invitation at my door. It was from Harriet Heinemann. She invited me to her house. It was so sweet of her. I thought that was so incredibly dear.
Jim doesn't want to admit that Harriet's been trying to reach him now for weeks.
It was what was really cute about it is that she didn't want the invitation to blow away, so it was weighted down with shot put things. So that it could.
Thank you. This is really the end of our show.
Yeah, what do shot putters shot put? Is it a big, heavy
they have shot put. It's a
metal-
big, heavy. It's a ball that you can barely pick up, much less throw like 60 feet or whatever they do.
You must have been amazed at her prowess.
Someone said, I heard she shot-putted Colton Bradford at one point. Okay, we're destroying at least Marjorie's reputation. Okay, what are you doing on the show thing?
Well, I'm a little bit worried now because we're starting the show with Taylor Swift.
No, are you?
No.
No, but you'll have a better angle than Marjorie did.
I hope so.
Thank you, Jim.
We're gonna we'll dissect the album.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Bad Bunny and being the Super Bowl halftime entertainment and the huge backlash to that's happening right now for people who think he doesn't belong. We'll talk about the Nicole Kidman Keith Urban divorce.
I know, that's
Shocking.
too bad.
It's very sad.
19 years or something? That's pretty incredible.
That's a long time.
Yeah, and everybody gets divorced from Tom Cruise, so it's not surprising that she divorced him. Hasn't he gone through 3 wives already?
I think so. Yeah.
So essentially, you're talking about meaningless crap too on your show.
Well, but we bring the meaning to the stuff.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for stopping by. Very good. You rescued us, sort of. See you soon.
Oh,
Bye.
Sophie wants to do this tomorrow because she hasn't had a chance to listen to the album
Great.
yet.
No, we'll be doing it. We'll start it at 2 o'clock tomorrow, Sophie. So make sure you tune in, okay?
Okay. Enough of that. We're done.
Yep.
We have a podcast. You can keep up with us 24/7 by way of the podcast. We also have a TikTok page, which is really good, thanks to our staff here and Nicole, who does it. Tune in Monday for UMass President Marty Meehan, Chris Dempsey, and Bill Strauss for our monthly transportation panel. Bowling Alone author Robert Putnam and the folks from Roxbury's Sewer Joint, whose manager was just released from ICE custody.
We talked. Was it his sister we talked to, wasn't it?
I think so.
I believe so. Yeah. Oh, that's terrific. I'm really excited about
We
that.
want to thank our crew, Zoe Matthews, Aidan Conley, Nicole Garcia, Hannah Loss, our engineer, John the Claw Parker, our executive producer, Jay Bologna, the GBH engineering crew for pulling together Special Live Music Friday and Frasier. We really appreciate that. Maddie Geyer, Patrick Lally, Tam Modelis, Howard Powell, Bill Francis, Chris Hanks, Eddie Hickey, Colin Cockrell, Phil Riley, Sai Patel, and Juan Jose Cadena. They all did a great job, so thank you very much. Stay tuned for the Culture Show's Week in Review, where they're going to talk about Taylor Swift. Just want to let you know, that starts right after us.
That's not fair. They'll have a much better
They'll do a
take
much
on it
better job than we did because, Marjorie screwed it up. Let's face it, Jim. I'll never get the end of this one.
No,
let me
you
tell
actually won't. That's funny you should say that. Have a nice weekend anyway. See you around.
Bye.
Bye.
What's trending? What's interesting? What's going on around town? We're talking all things arts and culture on The Culture Show, next on GBH 89.7.
Funding for our programs comes from you.
And Minus 33 Merino Wool in Ashland, New Hampshire. Since 1916, makers of all-natural merino wool underwear, outerwear, and New Hampshire-made socks. Their merino wool clothing and accessories are available at minus33.com. Salt, fat, acid, heat, action. GBH has the sizzling shows with all the seasonings. Catch your favorite GBH cooking shows starting tomorrow morning at 10:30 and continuing all afternoon on GBH2.
You're listening to 89.7 WGBH HD1 Boston. Online at gbhnews.org.